Today is Friday, April 19th, 2024. There are 13 blocks remaining until the Bitcoin halving, which will be happening in 2 hours, 1 minute, and 15 seconds. We are 99.994207% of the way towards the halving. We are standing by. We're joined by, I'm Thomas Hunt. We're joined by Dan Eve. How's it going, Dan?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Looking forward to the next halvening. That eight
Now,
is it 840,000 block.
as you can tell from the balloons and the excited spacemen, we have another block. We are down to 12 blocks. Now, even though it said 2 hours, that really means 12 blocks. And the blocks come on average every 10 minutes. But I believe that people will be turning on extra mining machines, especially, and I cough to the side. I think that people are going to be collecting these Satoshis. I think these are potentially collectible Satoshis, as kind of weird as that feels. Whoever gets this block potentially could resell it for more because it is the Halvening block. What do you think about that, Dan?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, that isn't it? The fact that you can trace it back to a certain point in time, that coin could have a certain additional weight to it. The fact that it was this, the halvening block or was sent by an important person or something random like that.
These are important Halvening blocks. And as always, we've been here with you in the past. The price of Bitcoin right now, according to bitcoinal.com, built by DJ Booth, is 64,507. That's $1 for 1,550 Satoshis. Seems like a good deal. Let's see what else is going on with the chart here. The price is up around 1.6% today with a high of 65,501, a low of 59,675, and a volume of 2,117 Bitcoins changing hands. The market cap is around $1.27 trillion. That's down about 5% in the last 30 days, but up 120% in the last year. That's not bad. The on-chain fees around 56 Satoshis, and the block height is 83, 839, 988. As we've said before, we're waiting for block number 840,000 even. So we still have quite a few blocks to go. Perhaps Bitcoin will running behind a little bit. In the past, we've been here with you in 2016 when we celebrated the Bitcoin halving. As you can see, we watched an early version of the halvening.com there, and we celebrated again with you in 2020 at the Bitcoin halving again.com. And now get ready for what I've talked to you about on the Bitcoin group. I'm just going to repeat it here in case you guys didn't watch, but you should, of course. It's our weekly talk show where we talk about Bitcoin. Here's what's going to happen on the halvening, on the event here. We're going to go to block 839,998. We're going to go to 839,999. Then we're going to hit the big number 840,000, 840,000 block. Like they say, the little guy, that's us. We're going to hold up our fireworks, our drinks. I've got water at this time, so very exciting. But still, we're going to hold it up. Then in another 10 minutes or so, there's going to be another block, and we're going to move on with our lives. Now, what does this mean is going to happen? Well, in the past, and if the past is the same as now, what's going to happen is a lot of people who don't know about this, nothing happening except, 6 going down to 3, right? They're going to have to sell. They're going to say, what? The halvening didn't make the price go up immediately? Why hasn't the price doubled immediately? And those people sell. So this causes a disturbance in the market. Other people who sell when other people sell, because they buy when they buy and they sell when they sell, they see that. They'll likely sell as well. We'll have this kind of dip, which again will probably be bought by the banks. And then we just have to wait for supply shock, right? Less Bitcoins are being produced and there's only 21 million. So if there's 3 instead of 6 and there's only 21 million, and you're a company that's used to buying, say, 1,000 Bitcoins a day, like the BlackRock ETF, or perhaps you're from the new Morgan Stanley ETF, or one of the Hong Kong ETFs that were also recently announced, and you have to buy your Bitcoin every day, you're going to be buying more, you're going to be paying more, and you're going to be getting less. I agree with Alistair Milne and many of our other friends in Europe who have probably already gone to sleep or are using it as an excuse to not come on this show. Where were you, Dad, when Bitcoin became harder than gold? In bed asleep. Effing legend. And here's someone who's not in bed asleep because he's in the Australian time zone. We're also being joined by Josh Shigala. Josh, how's it going? Let us know when you get your camera set up because this is the Bitcoin Halvening show once
Yeah,
again, as it was 4 years ago, as it was 4 years before that, which, should kind of mean something, you know, but
yeah.
maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. Josh Agala, we have 12 blocks remaining. Welcome to the
12.
Bitcoin Halving Show 2024.
Yeah. Oh, I just can't believe it. I'm so excited. It's another 4 years. It seems like just yesterday. Uh no, but I'm just really excited to see that we've changed the conversation from yay, another shop has started accepting Bitcoin, um, to wow, uh, does the SEC approve another ETF or whatever? The fact that we're talking such massive scale now that countries, El Salvador, like the whole landscape has changed so much in 4 years, and it's just exciting. I'm really blown away, and the community is also learning so much. I've noticed when I go to a party now or meet new people, they're like Bitcoin. Oh yeah, Bitcoin. Yeah, yeah. Well, and they start actually talking about the philosophy of monetary policy rather than just number go up. That I have definitely noticed that there's a definite change in general educational level on economic theory of the normie. And I think that's probably one of the most important things. When you see people that run for president, like uh, like Ron Paul, for instance, back in the day, I think a lot of that is, look, we know he's never going to get president because you need to be like ultra rich to to become president. But a lot of that is an educational process of teaching people, and having these big rallies and talking about economic. People like Ron Paul talking about economic theories. I just think that that's a big part of what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is actually a big educational exercise, and letting people understand what money is, where it comes from, why printing it to infinity is not good, and what to look out for in an economy.
Well, and this used to be something, Josh, that was mocked. It was mocked because it only had 21 million units. It was mocked because of the halvening structure, which we all saw would enrich people who got in early. Now, when I
Yeah,
saw Bitcoin and I saw people that got it before a dollar, I was like, wow, they're so smart. I'm so dumb. And I again ignored it. And then it went to $30, and then it went to $300. And then I stopped
yeah,
ignoring it, did the best I could from that point on, But in general, everyone thinks that this is the top. This is the top of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin did go up to 150, if it did go to 250, it would tumble back down, right? And then maybe if what we said is right and what everyone's been saying for all these years as the dancing spacemen celebrate below us with confetti, is that the price just keeps going up. And this just keeps
yeah,
being the best investment you made if you held, the worst investment you made if you didn't buy. And it just keeps getting worse all the time. But
yeah,
we're just going to see because of the way this halvening structure is structured, the way it's gone down 50, 25, 12, 6, 3. And then we're going to see it go to 1.5. Then we're going to see it go to 0.75. I mean, numbers we can't even comprehend. Can you imagine someone owning a whole Bitcoin when the entire block reward, every 10 minutes, all of the computers in the world guessing this answer to this math problem, and they get less than one Bitcoin? every
It's
10
amazing.
minutes.
And
Getting very
funnily enough,
close.
the blocks were speeding up a lot heading into this. And I get a feeling the miners are like, oh, let's chuck in more mining power before the halving. Like, let's try to get some of those last few extra coins before it gets cut in half. And
Well, and one of the things Dan and I were speculating on is maybe it's not just they want the extra block reward, but they want those collectible Satoshis, right? Everyone's collecting Satoshis now. So
yeah,
maybe
could
that
be.
means that they are, trying to speed it up. Because I definitely felt like we were trying to, slow down the show and not rush to it. But at the same time, the blocks really felt like they were accelerating. Dan, update on the blocks. It says, Satoshi, are you there on the website?
Oh, he's he's smiling down from the computer cloud, watching this great experiment unfold.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just sending out some invites. Thomas, hope you don't mind. See who wants to join.
I
And
was I was doing the same thing, Josh. We'll see. Maybe everyone will join all at once. Remember,
yeah,
if you are at a different Bitcoin halvening party, you can always drop by this one and go back to that party. Remember, you can make little 5-minute drop-ins, and the same for viewers as well. If you're watching one Bitcoin halvening party, you could also be watching another. We're gonna check in with the chat. Oh, that's super nice. Thanks so much, man. We've got
oh
a
wow.
super chat from Tune In Dropout. He sent us $50. He says, been around since 2013. Always look forward to watching Mad Bitcoins. Keep up the good work. Thanks so much, Tune In and Dropout, for the sweet donation. We're also joined by Tatiana Moroz. Let's see if we can get her on the air here as well. I remember we
Yeah.
are live right now on the internet. It used to be more difficult to do this. You needed a Google Hangouts and things like that. But we're getting set up here for the Bitcoin halving, which is happening in 12 blocks. Let us know if you're there in the chat. Say hello. We've got AA. He says it's time to party. Johnny says, what's up? AA also requests Gabriel Divine. I sent him an invite, so if he's around, he can join. And if
Yeah.
he's in the chat, he's like, oh, I haven't gotten the invite. You got to go check Telegram or maybe Twitter. As Chris says, did it happen yet? No, we've got lots of time. It's going to be at least an hour and 50 minutes. It might go faster if they mine these blocks quickly. But we're joined by Tatiana Moroz. How's it going, Tatiana? Say hello. How's it going? Oh, you're muted. You got to unmute first.
Oh, that's mute.
But and you disappeared entirely. But that's
Nope, here I
exciting.
am. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going, guys? Nice to see you. I'm in Miami right now. I had to step out of the hotel. I'm hanging with some other Bitcoiners. We've got Adela inside, a previous guest on your show before, not a Bitcoin visitor. And yeah, I don't know. Miami's on fire this weekend, but I like your online hang because then you can see everybody from the good old days in one place.
Yeah. And Tatiana's just dropped a new song. It's for me, it's the anthem of Bitcoin. It's the new Bitcoin anthem. I gotta say, it's
Oh,
wonderful.
thank you.
Congratulations, congratulations.
Thank you. I was really proud of this song. I'm not gonna lie. It's my first real Bitcoin song. Like I have songs that are freedom oriented, but it's my first Bitcoin song. And I actually was kind of inspired by Carrie Ann and some of her team because she was just telling me about how they were getting battered by Senator Warren and all these stupid rules and stuff like that. So that was part of it. And I felt like, this last bear market was really rough. And I felt like we needed something to remind us, why we do this. I think some people feel ideologically like where is the heartbeat of Bitcoin, right? It's like some weird sketchy people. It's been a little bit depressing. But I feel like
Yeah.
this song is about welcome people to the family and yeah. So thanks for the shout out about that, Josh.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, it was great, great stuff. I was very happy to hear it.
Well, so how
where do
long are you
people
guys?
go? Where do people go when they want to hear
Well,
it?
if you want, Josh, we could play a little bit of the song here. This is
There you
Tatiana's
go.
new song, Never Give Up, the Bitcoin Halving song. Seems like an appropriate song for a Bitcoin halving show. Let's see how this goes. Here we go.
Yeah.
So happy this is happening. Bitcoin marching to the halvening. 'cause we've come so far to get here now. The bear market was a nasty one. Just admit it wasn't very fun, but it's ride or die, not about the price. Welcome to the family. Did you get your first Satoshi? Welcome to an army where we never give up. Privacy, autonomy is what we're after. We the people have had about enough, so we'll never give up. Central banking just ain't the same. They only want to play corruption games, want to censor everything we do. Inflation that'll steal from you.
Well, it's a great new song, Tatiana. I don't want to play the whole thing here, but very cool stuff. And people can check that out on Tatiana Moreau's YouTube channel and probably at like TatianaMoreau's.com, something like that. You're muted again, though.
I posted it on Twitter too. So yeah, those are both good places for people to check it out. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they could come and see me at my event tomorrow. If there's any listeners who are in the Miami area tomorrow night, we're going to be performing that live. I got a bunch of different performances coming up with different folks from the space. So I think it's going to be fun. We'll have some prizes and stuff too. So I wish you guys could make it.
Awesome. I'm a bit far away.
Oh, I
I'm
wish
very
I could. Yeah, I'd like to, but it's just a bit too far.
Next time.
That sounds great. And Tatiana, it's not your first Bitcoin halving. What do you think about this halving versus the other halvings? How does it compare?
Well, I think that the bear market was really miserable, and I think that this is a really big relief. I feel like it was never as rough as this last stint. So, you know, this kind of harkens like, you know, just like we're making it, right? Like Bitcoin don't give a shit. So I think that the halvening is like a festive occasion. I'm happy to be a part of it. And that's it, you know?
Yeah.
At
Gotta
a
keep
certain
going.
point, it does have a little bit of Bitcoin masochism, right? Where you make more money than you've ever made, and then you lose more money than you've ever made. So half the time you're a genius, and the other half you're a total idiot because you never time the buys and the sells right. Everything goes wrong, and then this halving happens, and theoretically it's supposed to double and makes everything go away as long as you still got a little bit left.
Yeah, well, you know what? It is what it is. It's not about the price. It's about the revolution, and it's about getting off of this damn dollar and the rest of these fiat currencies, right? Like, you know, it's nice when people make money individually, but that's not really what we're here for. So we'll see. We'll see what this next cycle brings.
Yeah. One thing I just want to remind the audience, you know, I was doing co-hosting with Tatiana on the Tatiana show for many, many years. And we were really the first to interview people like Charles Hoskinson and all sorts of different people along the way. So there's some great interviews there. They're still up online. And so make sure you tune in and subscribe to Tatiana because she's in touch with all of the folks all around the industry, making sure she's all at all these events and playing her music. And there's always some alpha information there to catch up on, as the kids say. So yeah, definitely.
I never heard that expression. It sounds cool. Alpha something.
Alpha.
Alpha
The alpha.
information. Very cool. Well, wow, it's really windy. My hair is going crazy.
It's that Marilyn Monroe look that everyone's after.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not supposed to happen to your hair though. Like I feel like there's like other parts that are supposed to flow around. But anyway, I could probably get back inside, guys, because like I'm beneath the train. But you know, I saw the invitation and I wanted to say hello, and I miss you guys. And are you guys going to BTC Prague, or like there's a Lisbon NFT conference at the end of May that I'm going to check out too, I think.
ACPP, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, no plans yet. I think everybody's going to try to make it to Majorca blockchain days. in
Yeah.
Majorca.
Oh,
It's kind of like the German Hawaii. So people like to go there. You know, it just seems like a nice vacation for the
Yeah.
family, you know, bring the kids, whatever people have got. But thanks so much, Tatiana, for joining the show. We're gonna play you out with one of your classic songs here, one that I recorded myself at the Bitcoin meetup in San Francisco, the Bitcoin song by Tatiana. So thanks so much, Tatiana, for joining us, and have a great time at your halving
thanks.
party in Miami.
See you later, guys. Bye. Thanks
Oh,
for having me
ciao.
on.
Bye bye. And here's just a little bit of the Bitcoin song by Tatiana Moroz.
I didn't want to give any of my money to a nation based on war. I wanted to be free, nothing holding me back from where I want to go. I thought about it, what was the choice that I made? It was to take away the money, don't give up your money, use Bitcoin whenever you pay. Use Bitcoin whenever you pay.
It's such a great little jingle. I'm gonna grab a coffee, guys.
I wanted to be kind, open up my mind, just like an instrument. I thought about it, what was the choice that I made? It was to take away the money, don't give up your money, use Bitcoin whenever you pay. Use Bitcoin whenever you pay.
And just a beautiful song there by Tatiana. And be sure to check out her new song, Never Give Up, the Bitcoin Halving song. It's great to have Tatiana on the show and to be able to have a little bit of Bitcoin music. Dan, what do you think about Tatiana's songs?
Yeah, it's really cool actually. I remember that first one, you showed it a few times before, but the new one sounds really cool. So I'm definitely gonna watch that again after the show. I don't think I've ever actually seen her live though. I've been seen her at plenty of events, but I haven't actually seen her play. I don't think it'll be good to see her live at some point.
Let's see, we're checking in with our live stream action here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. I don't know if it's okay to show this, but I'm going to show our internal screen so you guys know what's happening here. Shout out again to Tune In, Drop Out. Thanks for the $50 donation. We've had a request to invite Gabriel Devine. Invite has been sent. So if he's available, he is on the West Coast, so we've got a good chance at that one. Part of the thing about this is a lot of our friends are in Germany or England or United Kingdom, places like that, which are basically sleeping right now. They've also asked us to invite Bits Be Trippin'. I sent him an invite on his Twitter, so hopefully that'll go through. I also invited a bunch of other people. We'll see if they drop by. Chris Lorio says, did it happen yet? Not yet. And Johnny loves Tatiana's new song. Shout out to AA. He's in Norway. It must be the middle of the night there. But again, this really is, although the media is kind of, I feel, making fun of us, calling it the World Cup of Bitcoin bros, which is a pretty good slander from CNN there. This is a big event for Bitcoin. This is maybe worth staying up. Although, again, having been through a couple before, I can tell you nothing at all happens. The price doesn't go right up. It doesn't go right down. Bitcoin doesn't stop working. It doesn't work faster or slower or better. There's no noticeable difference. But it's fun to have these big round numbers. And as we said before, having the decreasing supply of Bitcoin along with the hard cap of 21 million really does seem like something that might be more valuable in the future. But, you know, I've been saying that since 2013, right here on the record, many times. Dan, Eve, what do you think? We've got 10 more blocks to go. Are people prepared for the absolute nothing burger that is the halving?
Yeah, but it's a bit anticlimactic, isn't it? But unless, you know, Bitcoin just doubles on the spot, that would be pretty cool. But we know that's not going to happen. There's probably going to be a bit of a sell-off because people thought they were going to make an instant, like, huge buck, and they're all disappointed. And then, you know, it'll kind of go a bit sideways and then go mental towards, like, you know, probably towards the end of the year, if not a bit sooner. But who knows, man? Because, like, we've hit an all-time high for the first time before the halvening. for the first time in history, right? So this is a break in the trend, and will we see the bull market come a lot sooner? And then, as I think it was Josh saying earlier about how the bear markets are lasting a lot longer, so maybe the bull is going to come ahead of time, shortly after the halving, rather than around 18 months. I think.
Promote Volturi, but you know, it's one thing that really gives me also joy.
We're also joined by Josh Shigala, and Josh Shigala from the past. Check it out here. Here's Josh Shigala on the 2016 Bitcoin Halvening live show.
Is seeing how, to add to your comment there, Hassan, someone in Africa can receive 10 cents worth of Bitcoin or 20 cents worth of Bitcoin and instantly secure it in a vaulting facility in Switzerland. It's the first time. These facilities have only been used by the elite rich to store secure value in something tangible and something that's sitting there in their name as their legal property. And it just wasn't available to the normal person, especially at low volumes. At low volumes, it was just impossible. And so being liberated, it really liberates people. And when we think about Bitcoin in the Western world, in America or in Europe, we think, oh yeah, you know, it's great because we can send money to each other quickly. But it's these developing countries that have been, you know, I mean, we grew up all seeing Bono in the 80s with his yellow glasses going, yeah, drop the debt. What's changed? Africa's still suffering. A lot of the countries in Africa are still suffering. Nothing's changed. In all that time, the banks have had their go, and they just refuse to fix anything. So it's just time to exit and give people the tools. And Bitcoin really is the tool to be able to emancipate themselves out of these nightmarish manipulations of currency and money.
Josh Shigala throwing it down 8 years ago now in 2016. Josh Shigala, what do you think?
Even less hair now, less hair. Still on the roller coaster. Woo, up, down, up, down.
We've also got a shout out to Jack E in the chat. He says, it's nice to be here with you guys again. It's good to have you here as well, Jack. And Johnny says the same. He says, yes, this is the biggest non-event. Yes, event. And that's why it's so funny to see the media try to liken it to the World Cup, which, as we all know, is a competition between two great teams. You know, a dynamic, exciting sporting event. I've compared it to the Olympics, right? It used to come every 4 years, now every 2. But really, it's like the Olympics. If there are no teams and there is no ball and there's no competition, and the same for the World Cup, it's like an empty field, and we celebrate the clock on the wall going up, you know, another round. Speaking of which, we are at 9 blocks. Let's get the share in there. You can still see
9
some of the balloons from our spaceship loving friends and their party down below at thehalvening.com.
Yeah.
Josh Shigala, what do you think? We've talked to you at 2 previous halvenings. Do you think the same at this point? Is Bitcoin still exciting for the people of the world? Is it still the currency of the future?
It is absolutely the currency of the future. I mean, I am not the massive Bitcoin maxi. I think Bitcoin is always my first love. It's always there, and it's always got to be there. It's got to be there for the rest of the industry to work, because if Bitcoin fails, the whole industry can collapse in on itself as trust fails. So it's very, very important. But I find it funny that that people talk nowadays, a lot of the Bitcoin maxis, I've even heard them say, oh, Bitcoin scales through ETFs and through exchanges. And I just find that so awful. It's such an awful way of going about it. I think obviously Lightning Network is great. It hasn't been as good as I'd like it to be right now. And I think maybe that's just an adoption thing. But I think L2s on Bitcoin will be really, really good as more people come in and build layer 2s on Bitcoin. But I also think that the scaling, it's the whole space. You cannot shut down the idea anymore because there's just too many blockchains out there. So even if even if they take over Bitcoin and control it, and the state, all the ETFs control Bitcoin, whatever happens, it doesn't matter anymore, because fundamentally we have, even if every single altcoin is centralized, you cannot shut it down. You can't shut that idea down, because you can shut down a few of these. You can play whack-a-mole, but people will find somewhere to move value without the state and without control. And so I think the idea that Bitcoin spawned, and it is still the most important crypto, or the most important cryptocurrency of the space, because it is the Bitcoin. It is the first. It is the most important. And this should be a celebration of everything that Bitcoin forged for freedom, and that's really the celebration. You have to be free. You have to be free. Humans need to be free. Otherwise, life isn't worth living. So here's to Bitcoin, and here's to the Halvening.
That's deep.
Great to have you with us again, Josh. Another Halving. We had a request in the chat for Gabriel D. Vine. We've sent him an invite, but until then, here's a little bit of Gabriel D. Vine from Bitcoin Halving 2016, 8 years ago.
I am gonna tweet out the YouTube link here. It's very exciting. Last Halvening, I had just heard of Bitcoin a little bit. Wasn't really in the mind space to take in the information for another few months. So yeah, that was basically my pre-Bitcoin fever phase. And you know, I was like, kind of, when I figured out what was going on, what Bitcoin was in March 2013, I was like, oh, I see that just happened, and then the price went up a lot. That's really interesting. I wonder, you know, what will happen next Halvening, and here we are. So it's an exciting time. I think that it's a bit overlooked how much the deflationary, or, you know, constricting monetary policy of Bitcoin affects the amount of interest and investment in the space. I think a lot of the other altcoins have different policies, and they kind of flare up when the interest in them you know, peaks, and then they kind of go down, and nobody ever wants to invest in them again. They don't perform as commodities because of you know, for example, inflationary monetary policy like Ethereum. So although I've heard varying things about that, but it's pretty interesting, and I think it makes it a really attractive long-term investment for speculators and people looking for alternatives to, oh, look, it's shaking. People looking for alternatives, you know, for wealth storage. That,
as Gabriel said, the rocket is shaking. We have 9 blocks remaining for the Bitcoin Halvening. We were joined briefly by some other people, but I guess they went away. We were going to try to get them to come on. But Josh, what do you think? A little blast from the past there. Gideon, you want to turn on your camera? And I think Nind and Chris were even here. Chris from Majorca Blockchain Days, as we said to Tatiana. Great fun time to hang out if you want to join us. Bitcoiners from all over can come to Majorca. As I said, it's kind of like the German Hawaii. So bring the family. Good times. The price of Bitcoin is still 64,244. Nothing seems to be happening. 1,557 Satoshis, previously 1,555.
It's a stable coin right now, folks.
It's incredibly stable, and it's not expected to move. Remember, the price doesn't care about the halvening directly. It's not connected. Just like Bitcoin doesn't care about any of the drama that happened, blockchain wars, block size wars, all those things. Bitcoin just cares about being Bitcoin and getting that next block out. Let's see. They say the chain seems to be flying tonight, says Ryan in the chat. Nice. And he says it's a blast from the past. He also remembers Vortex and the baldy guy who always wore the sunglasses. It's hard to remember. Was it Theo? I want to say Theo.
Yeah.
Shout out to Theo G, classic member of the World Crypto Network, and of course to Vortex. Sure, send him a chat, send him a thing. So far, I've sent out a lot of invitations, and no one seems to be reading them anymore. But so it goes. We are still watching the Halvening. It's 9 blocks away. 9 blocks.
9 blocks and counting.
Dan, Eve, we've heard a new song from Tatiana. Do you have anything that you're working on?
I still need to like record that second one or that recent one I've written. But yeah, now that I've got a bit more time on my hands, I'm gonna write some more tunes for sure.
Yeah. Ah, Dan, I want you to come on to the Bitcoin group and do some raps for us. I mean, it's just been, it's for those that don't know, Dan is a very talented
Thanks.
rapper. Really is. And
Well,
here
and
we
here
go.
we go. We've got a blast from the past, the original
More fun.
crypto rap by Crypto Raptor.
It's more satirical than
Introducing the Crypto Raptor, getting you ready for the crypto rapture. I'm gonna free you from your banking captor. Listen as I rap about a monetary fracture. Chancellor will break of second bailout for banks, and shortly after everything tanks. They barely gave a little spank to the ranks, and they still haven't drained the swamp of the skanks. Groundbreaking white paper thesis, Satoshi Nakamoto innovation ceaseless. Worldwide Bitcoin fiat don't need this. Not long to the stage introducing feces coins, crypto alts and technical analysis, tapping up exchanges and wallets, inspecting balances. Price alerts got me in paralysis. I'm sick of this, I need a hit of TA dialysis. Twitter feed hype perfect catalyst. One day I'll be a crypto panelist. Fight for core, be you or classicist. The strategist, I rattle this back hodling philatelist. I dived into a crypto nexus. Lock wallet and encrypted necklace. AES-256 CBC to protect us. Cryptographic blockchain network connects us. Thin risk ridden, I pledge to hedge this. Getting peaks like a Lexus Texas. Buy dips with a wedge and dredge this sea of shit coins. I'ma buy me a Lexus. Oh gee whiz, baby please, let me take you to the moon where there ain't no breeze. And if the block's too big, there is transaction fees. And if the fee's too much, blame crypto Jesus. POBC pounds to inspect us. The ETF hype nearly wrecked us, but crypto's so damn infectious. Charts for being green, obscene erectors.
it's long.
The ETFs almost wrecked us, but
Yeah.
we survived. Very great,
Yeah.
Dan.
That was
the
about the 27.
Crypto Raptor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I got to perform at the Bitcoin Fest in Nottingham. Is it Nottingham? I think it's Nottingham. It's Nottingham. Yeah, in Carlton football club. It's pretty cool, and yeah, it was nice. It was like it was a new crowd, right? It wasn't like the normal kind of conference crowd, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So all these fresh faces, and yeah, it was just
Yeah.
just being able to jump on a microphone and just wail around for a bit. So, but yeah, need to do more music stuff. We'll do that soon. Now that I'm a man of leisure.
It's
And we
it's
we
late
have just
there.
a little bit here. We have a clip of Josh, Dan, and I 4 years ago on the 2020 Bitcoin halving. Let's see what we were talking about then.
Once if you've got electricity's extremely cheap, or it's free because it's complete excess, or from whatever arrangement you've got. If you've already bought the hardware, then your running costs are a lot lower than someone who's actually paying for normal electricity. And also maybe we are seeing a bit more of a shift to Bitcoin miners who are thinking about the long-term effects of the halvening, and being the clever squirrels that stack their nuts for the winter. Maybe
They would be smart if they did so. If those miners had held their Bitcoin. There's Dan.
never
from
do, though,
4
do
years
they?
ago.
They never do. What a bad moral like that story was as well. Like, it doesn't matter if you saved and all of your money all your life and you squirmed and stuff, because if you just blow a load like the other squirrel, someone's going to sort you out. So just like have fun, party hard, and like some other squirrel's going to sort you out, man.
Yeah.
Always enough nuts to go around.
I know. Terrible moral. That's the original story of the Three Little Pigs is also actually a lot harder, because the story is about prepare for the worst, otherwise you would die, but it's been so watered down. But actually, in the original story, the pigs die, and the pig that built the brick house was the one that actually survived. And the wolf is actually winter. You know, the wolf is winter, represents death and everything else. And you've got to be prepared for the winter. And during the summer times, you can't just play. You've got to get ready. And I think this is the same for crypto winter. You know, you got to stack stack all the time. Get ready for crypto winter, especially if you're a crypto business, because the crypto winters is when no one is taking any notice, and that's when you've got to build or biddle, as everyone says nowadays.
And if you had been watching the Bitcoin show with us here 4 years ago, the price was 8,558, $1 for 11,000 Satoshis. But that was 4 years ago. Now the price is suddenly 64,310. That's $1 for 1,555 Satoshis. The price sticking
And
dangerously close to that 1,555 number.
and that will look small in 4 years' time, folks, just like the other one looks small. So don't go telling yourself, "Oh, I wish I got in there," and like the 64. You're going to look back when it's 250 and go, "Oh God."
Well, and
And we'll
many
be here.
times I tell you guys, I watched it back in the day and I said, oh, I didn't get it at $1 before $1. I'm so dumb. I didn't get it before $30. I'm so dumb. I didn't get it before
Can you hear me?
$300. Even then, sometimes you
Hey,
just
can you,
don't have a lot of money. But
can
if
you
you could buy, whatever you could buy, $100 worth, it seems pretty good. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dan.
Oh no,
Hello, hello.
Gideon's saying, can you hear me? I could hear
Hey,
you.
Oh,
Gideon.
Gideon, are you
Yeah,
with us?
yeah. Right now, obviously, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Nice.
We're joined
So
by
yeah,
Gideon from the Blockchain Hotel in Germany. How's it going, Gideon? Is this your first halvening? How many halvenings have you been through?
don't ask me. I have three children right now. No, just kidding. Anyway, so it's not obviously the first halving. It's I don't know, the third. Let me quickly double check yeah, the third minimum. And right now, it looks for me like the last halving, there was an event from I don't know, Bitmain or one of the biggest Antminer here, Bitmain, this Bitmain hardware provider for ASICs in Frankfurt, and they made it exactly 4 years ago, kind of this. And there was one speech that was very, yeah, kind of interesting from my point of view, because I think it was this guy from Bitmain who told everyone on the stage, like, hey, this Bitcoin halving is just one of many in the whole history of Bitcoin halvings, so it doesn't matter anymore in detail, because in whatever 100 years or 20 years or 50 years, we will just discuss this as one of many halvings. And I totally agree, because the amount of spended or mined freshly mined bitcoins doesn't matter to the whole market from my point of view. But please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah,
It does seem like this is one of the last really meaningful happenings. As we saw before, it went from 50 to
exactly.
25, 25 to 12 and a half, 12 and a half to 6, and then now we're on the 6 to 3 bump. We are starting to exit the world of one whole Bitcoin per block reward. So I think that will matter. But Gideon, how do you find this different than the other happenings? Obviously, I think it's happening in the middle of the night there in Germany. Is it a bigger party or a smaller party this time?
Yeah, as I told you already, you are all invited. We skipped the halvening party to the next Friday, just to be safe that the halving is already done. We didn't want to make a pre-party, so this is why we decided to choose the next Friday. It's the 26th of April. Yeah, feel free to come, all of you. If you are interested, just drop me a message, a private message for the free entry, and then we will celebrate the Blockchain Hotel halving party in Germany, Essen, next to Cologne, or I don't know where you are based. Yeah. Would be
Very
great to
cool.
see you.
Celebration.
Essen, Germany. That'll be very cool. People can go there and celebrate. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very hard to schedule these halvening parties. That's why I wasn't even sure how to do it, and I just thought, well, we'll turn it on when it's close. But other than that, I don't have a plan. So I'm very fortunate. It's around 3. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon here on the West Coast. So not a
Yeah.
problem for me to be here. But Gideon, what time is it there?
To be honest, from my point of view, it's better to celebrate it a week later than some hours or days before, because it's like a pre-birthday, and nobody celebrates pre-birthdays. It's like a kind of bad. You got my point. It's you can't celebrate a birthday before, so that's why we decided to choose the next Friday. Anyway, it doesn't matter in 4 years, decades. So yeah, and I think we are fine with 26 next week. Yeah.
Doing it, rocking it. Yeah. Guys, I want to hear from the chat. What are you guys doing right for to celebrate apart from watching this? Are you telling friends? Are you liking? What are you doing?
I don't think so, anyone here has real friends, so this is why we are hanging out here.
Come
We
on,
are
come
the
on.
people who watch the number go up,
We
and we
are
watch
obviously the influencer
the
who makes the
the
next
block.
big
The
thing.
block is really just a big number that is rolling up. Jay Deluxe says in the chat, he says it's not like we've had 12 halvenings, so
Yeah.
you should be able to remember them. I think he's giving Gideon a hard time.
Why
And
is Jay not in this chat right now?
Yeah, well, I did send him an invite. Feel
Yeah,
free to
please
pop
do.
on in, Jay.
But yeah, so everyone's welcome in the chat. Let us know what's going on. There's still 9 blocks remaining. We are in the 2024 Bitcoin halving. We're going from 6 something to 3 something. It's very
Yeah.
exciting. Let's see, we've got a chat from Gerbot. He says today is also Bicycle Day, which is a day. I'm going to get the guy's name wrong. I didn't think of his name. But anyway, it's the guy who created LSD or created the chemicals. And he went for a bicycle ride and he made a mistake and had very much LSD in his pocket. And it's a
Oh.
legendary bicycle ride on Bicycle Day. It's also
wow.
almost 420. A lot of people are celebrating 420 these days. Maybe
Right.
Dan, for you in the United Kingdom, it might be 420. Say it's
Uh,
820 on the East Coast. Johnny is preparing like one who knows the future and anticipates nuclear war. Stock up on alcohol and food and stay in your bunker for that big bang of a nothing burger. Cheers. If only I could have saved up. I had a pretty good supply of food and what have you for that World War III event we had a couple days ago, but I think it's mostly gone. Yeah, they say smoke them if you got them. It's 419 somewhere. And Albert Hoffman. I wanted to say Abby Hoffman, but I knew that was wrong. So I was really close on Albert Hoffman, who created the chemical compound LSD on Bicycle Day. He went for a
on
bicycle
Bicycle
ride.
Day.
Shout out to
It-
Yellow. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Josh. What's going on? Josh
Well,
has got
it's
glasses now.
it's probably Trans Day somewhere too. Like they seem to celebrate constantly something. It's
Well,
always
when things
everywhere.
are scheduled, dude, they were scheduled for March 31st, and that's what it was scheduled for, so it became Easter. But not
It's
really a
so
big
weird.
issue. Everybody has a day. They have like Nacho Cheese Day and stuff like that these days, so you just
Yeah.
have to watch out. And today is the Bitcoin halving day. We're waiting 9 blocks more. As I said, it's not a great time for people. It's 4 o'clock on the West Coast. It's around 8 o'clock on the East Coast. And people are
Europe
not
it's really
awake
late.
or around.
It's
Europe,
close
it's
to
really
midnight.
late. Yeah, so
In Australia, we're at 8 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning.
Okay. This is why you wear sunglasses right now, Josh, or
Yeah.
something.
I wear my sunglasses at night so I can watch the halving party. Yeah. We look, I think, coming up, what's your prediction for this next year? Because I'll tell you my prediction before we go on. I think another country will start to buy up Bitcoin. Definitely more companies will start to put it on their books as part of their treasury. I'm getting a feeling like Amazon might start releasing some sort of crypto payment thing. Let's see, 2024,
Amazon
20.
not. Sorry.
No, you don't reckon? Yeah, I don't know if it's
No.
big. I don't know if it'll be Bitcoin, but it'll probably be some sort of stable coin.
Cryptocurrency anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you. Sorry for interrupting. But
No,
Amazon
no
not.
worries. I need interrupting because otherwise I'll just yap on. But oh, look at that, 9 blocks to go now. As the red balloons go up.
8
Missed
blocks.
opportunity.
And we're
They
down
could
to
have been
8
orange.
blocks. We've got a shout out on the page. It says, I knew you loved me, JJG. Happy Halvening. So that's fun. They're doing shout outs this year on thehalvening.com.
Yeah, and big shout out to Tobias, Gerbot, always there every week. Thank you very much for all the support, everyone, for being, watching the crypto World Crypto Network and specifically the Bitcoin group. We've been doing it for over 10 years now, and it's one of these things that just is there. It's there in the background. People come in, they watch us. By the way, if anyone's seen Propagol, he's gone AWOL, and we need to find him. We need to find him. I hope he's okay.
He's
So,
late.
Let
He
me
is late.
quickly also explain to you that on the 26th of April at the Blockchain Hotel, Gökhan and me, you all know us. We celebrate the 10th birthday of BitcoinTreff.de. It's a local P2P platform that is made to exchange Bitcoin P2P from like local Bitcoin, but local Bitcoin canceled the service in Germany, I don't know, 11 years ago or something like this, long time before local Bitcoin in general was closed, kind of 4 years ago or 5, I don't know. So that means Germany was one of the first countries like North Korea or I don't know, where local Bitcoin was not longer available as a service. And this is why we created this BitcoinTreff.de. And this is what we celebrate, why we celebrate this 10th birthday on this Friday at the Blockchain Hotel. Just for your info.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
an honorable list for Germany to join there. First,
Definitely,
first to ban. First
It's
to
a hard
ban.
place. It's a hard place for cryptocurrency in Germany in general, especially in European Union. But in Germany, it's kind of exponential more hard to run any kind of crypto business instead of, for example, Switzerland or something. And on this platform, yeah, we try
I've got
to act like a kind of provider. Yeah.
I've got the URL localbitcointrader.com. I've got to do something with it. It just points to Vaultoro.
Let's talk after this chat in private. We have multiple options. I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
also very close to Adela, the last CEO of local Bitcoin, and the reason why they canceled all the services, what she said is like kind of, oh, we just need to pay lawyers all the time, so that didn't make
I
sense
know.
anymore to run this platform, and
Yeah.
this is this is why we don't protocol any IP addresses or something, nothing from our customers. It's kind of zero knowledge protocol on the website, but it's not working on HTTP HD on the internet protocol. But you got my point. So there are no secret data, only email.
Does Mycelium still? Mycelium had a good
Yeah. Mycelium was
marketplace
our
as well.
kind of only alternative at this time because Mycelium ran the latest P2P marketplace instead of local Bitcoin. But I'm not sure, to be honest. The last infos from my side are like they are not longer available for this P2P marketplace on iPhone. But I'm not sure.
Yeah. Right on, right on. Well, we're down to What are we? 8 blocks now. Jeepers creepers. It's getting close, guys. You know, it'll be the big non-event. It'll go bang, and then that's the end of it.
So,
We've
You know,
got some
the
more
what
chats.
do you expect? What do you expect from this?
well, the funny
crossover?
thing is, leading up to the halving, there's so much doom and gloom talk about like what will happen. Oh, the miners will collapse, the hash rate will go crazy, and then that will cause that knock-on effect, and then the whole system will collapse. Every single year since 20, well, like 11, it's been the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
um,
exactly. But the main reason, the main difference between the halvings before is that the amount of, let's say, spended bitcoins in the ecosystem from the miners is much lower than before in general. So, and the market value in general is always also much higher than before. So, I don't think there is a much big effect from the miners, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah,
they don't
prove me
care.
if
They
I'm
just
wrong.
want to. They'll just keep on going. They'll just keep on. And it's funny because if there's one industry that will not get affected by this is the miners, because it's totally predictable. They know that every 4 years are halves. It's in their business model. They've modeled all of this
Exactly.
out
I
when
hope
they've
so.
decided to launch.
In the best case, yes.
Yeah. And so to say that this is some sort of surprise to the miners is ridiculous. It's always been the case. And funnily enough, mining has always been, and I've said this before in the Bitcoin group, but it's always been unprofitable when at the time you mine those coins. Even when Bitcoin was $1, $30, $100, it was always unprofitable because you had to hold for longer than you mined. So if you mined it, you better hold it for a little while until you get that appreciation, and then you sell, and then you cover the electricity. So you had to hold for maybe a few months at least after you mined. And during the bear market, it could be a year or two. So Dan, you probably know more about that than me. I've not, I did a bit of mining back in the day when it was still CPUs could still do some, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree also, but it's the opposite of everybody can mine. So it's maybe not this what Satoshi wrote in the white paper, but anyway, he didn't talked about any FTSX anyway.
That was a romantic time when you could mine just with your computer, and then later on people got graphics cards, and then it really gets out of control with the ASICs, and that's about when I started Mad Bitcoins, around April of 2013. And it was both exciting to be a home miner and to try to mine some of this crazy coin, and it was also impossible, right? Even then you had to join a mining pool if you wanted to have a share of the reward. Mining on your own was pretty much impossible. And I like to spread the idea around the halvening that Bitcoin will just completely break and stop working. That it was working fine on block 840,000, but when it got to block 840,001, it suddenly stopped and broke. Because then you get people into the Y2K metaphor. And Y2K was also a real nothing burger where nothing happened at all. And we all stayed up late and said, oh, our computers are going to crash. Please crash computers. And none of them crashed. They'd fixed it all. They worried everyone about it so much, and they talked to so many people, they got it fixed. But the Bitcoin halvening is not like that. There's no big change that's going to happen to Bitcoin. It's just another block. Dan, Eve, what do you think about this other block we've got coming up?
Well, it's just the same as any other block, except it kicks off the new halvening schedule. But obviously, it's a special event, right? It's like it's like the Easter of, but not the Easter. It's a day that we celebrate, like anyone can celebrate, right? It's like it crosses no religious borders and whatever. It's like it's just something cool that we can celebrate, even if it diminishes each time. Like as we pointed out, like the percentage of supply that's coming in is reducing like each halvening. So even in this halvening schedule, it's 3.13% of the supply is going to be given out compared to 6.26% in the previous halvening schedule. So as a percentage of the overall supply, it's lessening each halvening that's occurring because there's more supply out in the open. But
the opposite thing is happening to Halvening parties. There's more and more Halvening parties every year, and I think it's harder and harder to get guests, right, Dan?
for sure, exactly. As the
We're also joined by Lamar, Big Mar. How's it going, Lamar? Can we hear you?
Well,
What's going
so
on?
the Bitcoin halvening party is always reduced to the half, obviously.
They do seem to be getting smaller, Gideon. Lamar, you're joining us. What do you think about this halvening? How is it different than the previous halvenings that you've gone to?
Listen, for some reason, there's far more fanfare around this one. And for me, I always think they are a little bit more hype than they should be. But this one is crazy. Like, it almost feels like Y2K, but backwards. You know what I'm saying? It's like people are like, oh my God. And then as the price goes down at the same time, like people can't understand what the heck's going on. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what the price is right now. I've been traveling all day. So I just got in my room or in our little pad or whatever from traveling all day. I don't even know what the price is at this moment, but as the price is going down during the halving, people didn't understand that was a lot of times what's going to happen anyway. So I don't know, man. I just think I can't wait till the halving is over. The halving is over and we get back to TikTok next block because it's like it's crazy right now.
I agree, Lamar. There is an expectation or a belief that the Bitcoin price will instantly double at the halvening. And then when that doesn't happen, a lot of people who made their bets based upon that belief sell instantly. And a lot more people see those sells and then follow them like copycats. And then everybody else is sitting on the sideline saying, Bitcoin is the greatest thing ever, the greatest thing I've ever read about. And the issuance just went down by 50%. Half the Bitcoin mines in the world shutting off, if you imagine that. And yet,
Thomas,
still
stop,
the price
stop.
can go down. It's amazing, isn't it?
Thomas, you never told me that the Bitcoin price won't drop to 50% after the halving. So I'm out.
Well, you know, the thing is, I studied animation. I was an animator for a long time. And one of the things in animation is before a character moves, you don't just move forward. A character always moves back and then forward, right? During animation. And this is the same with Bitcoin. It has to go down, people sell, and then people go, oh wow, it's cheap, and they start buying up, and that's what gives that momentum of like, oh no, it's going up, and then everyone just starts to jump up, and then it's off to the races. And I think that's the sort of similar thing. You have this sort of preampt before you jolt forward.
Sorry, Josh. I think you are too smart for this discussion because from my point of view, the people start selling if the price is high. This is the fact right now, what we have. And I totally agree. It makes more sense to buy low and sell high. But from my point of view, my experience, even the last years, is the people are start asking me for hey, how can I get buy Bitcoin? How can I buy blah, blah, even after 50K or something, not before. But prove me if I'm wrong.
We are down to 7 blocks. We have just 7 blocks remaining.
Yeah. And it's Lamar runs, just to say, the big Black Bitcoin Billionaires Club, and a great Twitter what's the thing? Lamar, you go introduce your
It's like on Clubhouse, it's on Twitter Spaces.
Clubhouse.
Lamar is muted though. But he'll come back. But yeah, the BBB.
Yeah, Clubhouse, and I'm sorry about that. Black Bitcoin Billionaire on Clubhouse.
Looks like he's having some internet issues there. But yeah, it's a great group. And a lot of what I really like is they educate people there, and they educate them to be reasonable. They're like, try to get 1 million Satoshis, which I think is around $700 or so. And, don't sell it. Don't buy it. Don't sell it. Don't try to time the market. Certainly not everyone has access to the, Bitcoin predictor ball. So you can't find it hard to know when to sell or not. But Lamar, are you back with us? Maybe tell the people
Yeah,
just a little bit about the Black Bitcoin billionaires.
yeah. We started Black Bitcoin Billionaire Club during the pandemic. It grew to about it's 165,000 members on Clubhouse. We've done a lot of things. We've taught at the Bitcoin Academy in Marcy projects for Jack Dorsey and Jay-Z. Of course, you've probably seen us on Vice News and other things. But it's really just all around trying to educate people around Bitcoin and Bitcoin as a tool for freedom, not necessarily just like getting more fiat money, but Bitcoin as a tool. Like this is a tool that actually frees you from the oppressive systems that have been put in place by governments all over the world. Governments use fiat currency to control the people, and Bitcoin allows you to escape from that control. So that's the power of Bitcoin.
That's it, man. You can be the richest guy on earth, and if someone traps you in a tiny little cage, it ain't worth shit. So freedom is the ultimate wealth, and that's spot on, spot on.
Well, it's
You know,
great
it's
to
funny.
hear
I was
that,
going through.
Lamar.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was going through customs today, and they got a huge sign up saying, if you have more than $10,000 or $20,000, you have to report it. And I was just thinking to myself, like, you can go everywhere around the world and never report, because you can literally say, I own this Bitcoin in Siberia right now. It's not owned where I am. The keys, you know what I mean? Like that's how powerful it is. So I think those kind of things are hopefully what people get back to, and that's what we try to educate people on, and not just necessarily number go up and let's get a lot of money, right? Because the funny thing is that the people who vote for number go up, who really want number to go up, they're really just saying at what point am I going to trade out of this back into fiat? That's really what they're saying. Let's be honest. And so the question is, once they do trade back into fiat, at that point they jump back into the system where the government can seize all the assets, and then what? Right? So it's crazy to me that people even like push so hard for the price to go up, when the truth is, like, you don't know how powerful it is, just the fact that you own it and that you have the keys to it and you control it yourself. But yeah, man, it's good being out here with you. Like I said, we just got here, so I gotta leave because my wife is like, what are you doing? But I had to come through and definitely show love to Thomas, man. Thank you, Thomas, and everybody else. I appreciate you guys for having me on here, and then Thomas for being such a good friend. I just want to say this because it's his public. I want to say Thomas has been a really good friend over the years. He has held down the Bitcoin mantle. I mean, listen, I don't know anybody else who's been holding down as long as Thomas, like consistently. So shout out to Thomas for doing it, man. There have been podcasts that have come and go. There have been networks that have come and go. But Thomas has been around for a very long time. And I just want to say shout out to you, my brother. And I appreciate what you do.
Man.
Oh, thanks, Lamar. And thanks for being on the show. I know you got to go. Keep the wife happy. But yeah, it's amazing. It's good to hear those original Bitcoin ideas that Lamar is talking about and the group's talking about. So we'll see you later, Lamar. But as he was saying, yeah, Bitcoin can set you free. It's more than just something that's owned by the ETFs. It's more than just something that's owned by Coinbase and that you send around from Coinbase account to Coinbase account. It really is this freedom technology. And we're in an interesting time where people lose sight of that idea and they say, maybe we could do without it. Maybe we could do without the early libertarians and all these things. And in a lot of ways, I know, we have to let the old people go. We have to bring the new people in. But all the new people really are kind of like Lamar is saying, number go up technology. They're going to be looking at this happening, not kind of marveling at the structure of the money, of the decreasing reward with the fixed supply. And they lose track and they lose sight of that it can free you, not just monetarily, but like Lamar was saying, allowing you to hold your assets, send them to another country, own them in another country, have them wherever you want, and not have to worry if you go through customs, because who really owns Bitcoin? Where is it really owned? Well, we don't really know. No one knows. Dan, what do you think? Go ahead.
You can just have the 12 words remembered in your head. Isn't that just incredible? The fact that you can just 12 words and access hundreds of billions of dollars anywhere in the world.
Actually, I'm working with someone to develop a system that allows you to hold your seed phrase and scanners at the airport, because currently a lot of the seed phrase things are metal, and it's kind of annoying bringing them through customs and everything, because people can see that. You can store it in your head, but that is dangerous. People have lost memory or screwed it up. So we are developing. Stay tuned. A system that is undetectable by scanners
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff like that
strange,
as well.
Josh, but there is kind of a slot there for maybe a plastic paper wallet. We've seen many metal wallets with the idea that people would bury them or that they'd want it to last for a really, really, really long time. But
Yeah.
plastic is pretty good for the short term, and even
Yep.
for 10 years, 20 years. I mean, if it's stored properly and so forth. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's an interesting market and interesting ideas there.
Yeah.
We've had some more rapid developments here on the blocks. It is down to 6 blocks remaining for the 2024 Bitcoin halving. Remember, this is an event, but it's a non-event. Nothing will happen. The price won't change that much. Even if we're looking at the price right now, it is down a little bit, around 63,700, 1,570 Satoshis. I suppose that's up since we've been tracking it today at 1,555. But just keep your eye on that. Shout out to JK in the chat. He says he's been watching Mad Bitcoins in 2014 and Mad Potcoins. Shout out to Mad Potcoins as well. He did a cool show for us here on the World Crypto Network, all about Potcoin. The funniest story about Mad Potcoins is once upon a time, Dennis Rodman, famous basketball player, wore a Potcoin shirt to North Korea. I think he was paid by Potcoins. And the funny aspect of this is that after that happened, the media got suddenly very interested in Potcoins. They found our friend Mad Potcoins videos, but they could not find Mad Potcoins. They contacted me and I sent them along the way, but we didn't hear from them. So we never got to share
I love
that.
that. That was the coolest thing ever, seeing Dennis Rodman in North Korea playing basketball with Potcoin on his hat. Oh, it was just so epic. I just loved it.
Well, there's
Loved
been
it.
so many great fun events along the way in crypto that people forget or don't talk about anymore. I remember Kanye Coin, not
Yes.
officially licensed by Kanye West, certainly not
In Coinye.
affiliated with Mr. Kanye.
Coinye.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Coinye. And
So
it was a tipping currency. You could send it around. It was really fun. And I found out just a little while ago, one of the guys, I think I can say this, but it was on Twitter or whatever. He worked on Coinye. He was also one of the people who helped rediscover curio cards. So it's really funny what a small world of crypto it is there. Dan, you were excited. You want to say something about Coinye? Go ahead.
yeah, well, he's also the developer who did Pepe coins, the original, the 2016 one with the master toads, and like the Kekdak, which was like the first version of OpenSea. Which back in the day, I burnt, I think, just over 150,000 Pepe coin testing this Kekdak, like the first NFT exchange.
Nice.
And one of them, well, on the not counterparty one. Yeah, 150,000 Pepe coin back in the day. Which
Don't worry about it, Dan. I think there was a point where I owned more Coinye than anyone else, even more Coinye than Kanye West himself. Mad
Yes,
Bitcoins was an early target for Coinye donations. It was fun times.
he literally got like chased by the FBI for that, like a cease and desist from Kanye West team. And it had a picture, it had Coinye, the gay fish.
Yeah, the gay fish.
Shout out to Ben the Bow in the chat. He says it had a fish face.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
JK says that Rodman went on Letterman's show talking about Potcoin. That sounds hilarious. That sounds like great fun. I might have to find that in the YouTube archives. Good times. But they're saying now, yes, that Potcoin could actually make it. And at the time, I think that they had deals and they always had something like similar to Mt. Gox when they were going to have the Midas engine and they were going to add Litecoin. I think with Potcoin, it was always like, someday you'll be able to trade this at a dispensary for some pot. And I'm not sure if that day ever came, but that was always the promise, the roadmap, I guess they'd say these days. Yeah.
That was always the funny thing with a lot of these coins. They'd come along and say, hey, this is fridge coin. You'll be able to use this to buy fridges. I like these strange use cases that are specifically for buying something. And you're like, why can't you just use Bitcoin for that? And,
Dentist
Tokenizing
coin.
real world
yeah,
assets.
dentist coin. You can buy this.
RWAs. It's the latest craze, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. RWAs, real
What?
world assets, is now even though, and I've been working in real world asset stuff for years, and there's still massive problems. Yet people like Jamie Dimon and some of these big players are like, real world assets, that's where it's at. Even the black guy, Larry Fink, he's all about the RWAs, and it's like, dude, fix some of the issues. Like, how are you going to pay for storage of this? Where are those fees coming? And some of these things haven't been thought about properly yet. They're all going the PAX way, which is the wrong way.
I like the idea that they've all just invented it yesterday. No one tries to look at the history of cryptocurrency, which has been around for more than 10 years now, and they don't say to themselves, I wonder, has anyone tried a fast coin? And oh wait, there's a fast coin called Fast Coin. Has anyone ever tried a peer-to-peer coin? Oh yeah, there's a peer coin called Peer Coin. And you can read about the history of it and see how it went. Now, sometimes you're just too early, and the idea is a good idea, and later on it turns out millions, right? So I'm not saying that that's not true sometimes, but most of the time what you're doing has already been done. You could go read about it, and if you knew about their failure, maybe you could avoid it. Maybe you could change it up. So it is interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that 10 years ago, I made a very good call initially to invest in the first real world asset that's was meant to be tokenized, which was URO. And one URO was meant to represent a metric ton of urine, which is for the fertilizer industry. And I bought like 3 Bitcoin of that stuff. I was like, yeah, URO. Yeah, that sounds pretty legit. Tokenizing real world assets, eh? And they were like, the way they sold it, like, there's the urine indices that's used for fertilization. And yeah, I bought into that. I think it was on like MintPal or something crazy.
Only you could tell such a story, Dan. The amount of
it wasn't just me. There
were
other idiots too. Yeah, I wasn't the only one that bought URO.
There were others.
Yeah.
People are always trying to buy something that they know something about. And at least you stuck to your guns there with urine.
Yeah.
We are down to 6 blocks to go. That's about an hour, or as I like to tell my little girl, about 8 Bluey episodes. I don't know.
Those are short shows. That's a short attention span they're working with there.
7-minute shows. I don't know.
But we've got a shout out to Mr. Devil K in the chat. He's got an excellent question: halving or halvening? And on the record, I want to go that halving is the event that happens, like the Bitcoin halving, the number goes down by half. But halvening, I think, is what's happening right here, right now, that we are celebrating the halving. We are celebrating the Bitcoin number going down by half. But I'll open it up to the panel. Dan, what do you think, halving or halvening?
No, I think that's a good rundown, right? Because the halving is actually what happens is the halving of the block reward, and then the halvening is like the whole event. It's like the big shabazz, right? The whole parade around it.
And I think a lot of people are losing track of this, and we're losing the word halvening, which again we invented, right? As Bitcoiners, somebody, not me, of course, I'm not saying that, but HODL, all these other fun words that Bitcoiners have invented. Let's not lose them. Let's not our tweets become our posts and our retweets become our reposted or whatever. But Josh, what do you think? You've been around even longer than myself, Mad Bitcoins. Halvening, halving, what do you prefer?
Absolutely halvening. It's a happening. It's a happening, and it's coming every 4 years. And it's not just an event, it's the event of 4 years. Screw the Olympics. This is what it's all about, the halvening. No, absolutely. Halvening all the way. What about you, chat? Give us a like for halvening. Give us a subscribe for halving.
And we do have an update from the chat. Starship Schrodinger's Destiny agrees with us. He says that halving is when a thing gets cut in half. Halvening is the Bitcoin event. So it's good that we can have our unique and fun Bitcoiner words and there are new Bitcoiner words all the time. And this is a constantly developing culture, which is another defense against people who say, oh, Bitcoin is just number go up, or Bitcoin is just a technology. An entire culture with, my videos, Let's Talk Bitcoin videos, Andreas videos, everybody's, videos and audio and podcast and Twitter spaces and all Clubhouse spaces, all of these things combined together to create this Bitcoin culture. And I think if you look here at the Halvening.com, I think they have a thing where you can control these little people down below, and there are much more people here watching the Halvening with us, even if they're on this website. We're up to 525 on the website. It was around 300 earlier. As well as if you're watching us now, give us a thumbs up or a retweet or a like, whatever platform you might be on. But Josh, we're getting close, 6 blocks away to the
I
Halving.
just saw on the chat, my chats aren't coming through on your side. So I'm like replying to people in the chat and it doesn't show up. So I don't know. Maybe that's always been the case. Imagine if that's always been the case. And I just don't know.
No, usually I can see your responses, but I can't see any.
Oh, can you? Yeah.
It's possible that you've been banned or shadow banned or mistakenly
Yeah.
banned. That could happen as well.
That could happen.
We don't know. They're saying, where is that block? 839, 995. Sounds like we might have a slow block.
Yeah.
Dan, have you plugged in your USB miners? Do you have any update on this slow block? Can you get it for us?
11 minutes ago.
I just joined with my Jammin Unit account.
Wow.
By the way, folks, you can see a video there.
Saying current TX on TX Street, saying current TX fees $12. It's pretty.
Oh, $12 a transaction fee. It's getting up there.
We can we can see you on your other account, Josh. Yes.
Oh yeah, well there you go. That's coming through. Well, such interesting times. I was over. I just quickly jumped in on Tone Vase's channel there to say hi, and it's interesting seeing the different spectrum of people around Bitcoin. I think that the scaling debate really is not over, and it needs to continue, because
I see.
I do feel like there's these two sides of the camps where hearing them talking about that Bitcoin needs to be really, really expensive. And I remember looking at that clip that you played of me talking about people in countries in Africa being able to send Bitcoin to each other for cents. And I think that's really important. But I do feel maybe that's where the alts do come in, because if Bitcoin's not, if the hardcore don't want Bitcoin to change to be for everybody, and it's too expensive to open a Lightning channel, then maybe the alts is how it scales. Maybe that's how it scales. I don't know, but
what's interesting now, Josh, is the new debate that I'm seeing is not so much about Bitcoin scaling and big blocks versus small blocks. It's, should we edit Bitcoin at all? There's kind of a new movement now called Bitcoin ossification, or turning Bitcoin into bone, that says basically their argument is kind of a danger of new updates argument. And they would say we shouldn't change Bitcoin because it's working good now. Therefore, we shouldn't change Bitcoin. What do you think about that idea, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I find that technology needs to keep being updated a little bit. It is dangerous with Bitcoin because you don't want to break it. If this breaks, like I mentioned before, everything else breaks. But there is new blood coming in into the development sphere. People are looking at new ideas. If you look at Litecoin, they implemented the Mimblewimble stuff, and it's fantastic. You can literally not know. It still uses UTXO, but it's made it so much more private. Vlad Costa, for instance, he said, "Hey, I bet no one can guess exactly how much Litecoin I've got. Here's my wallet address." No one could tell, and so this is very interesting. Plus, it gave a massive boost to the block space for Litecoin. Litecoin obviously is a fork of well, not a fork. It's basically a clone of Bitcoin. For those that don't know, it was one of the very first alts, apart from Namecoin or something like that. And yeah, for them to implement that, for Charlie Lee to implement that, or the team over there, I think was kind of great, just to show. And for those that don't remember, it was Litecoin that really helped push Bitcoin to do the user activated soft fork to get SegWit in. So so maybe Litecoin can be an example for Bitcoin to push Mimblewimble through, because I do feel that that would be a huge step forward. Because maybe we don't need to scale with block size limit increases, but we could scale with stuff like that. Who knows? But I'm not a developer there. But you know, maybe that is the way to go. Something like that. Mimblewimble. I think privacy on Bitcoin would be good, because it is dangerous having something where anybody can look at an address and know exactly how much money you got. That's dangerous. So it'd be good. I mean, it's even worse on Ethereum. It's terrible on Ethereum on this account basis. At least with Bitcoin, it swaps out the addresses every time.
Let's go to another blast from the past. We've got this clip of Chris Ellis from the Bitcoin Halvening Party 2020.
All right, major structural changes, big happenings. Let's go to Will Pangman. Will, what do you think is going to happen in the next Bitcoin epoch?
Oh man, I don't know if I was ready to answer yet, but
I guess it's
think
Will, not Chris.
It's definitely
Here's
along the
Will
lines
Pangman.
of what Nim said. You know, starting to see nation states more than just Bulgaria holding Bitcoin and hodling and mining, nation states mining, like more than just Iran, you know, more than North Korea, quote unquote legitimate nation states. And more of that, and banks adopting cryptocurrencies on their balance sheet, probably stable coins first, but also Bitcoin. So I think
Will Pangman predicting the future here. Stable coins and Bitcoin, banks adopting them. Excellent stuff here from the 2020 Halvening Party. Oh, here's Chris Ellis. Let's see what Chris had to say.
That is very oppressive and that has taken all freedoms away from all of those people. And that's how they got those cheaper wages, which is how they sold those iPhones so cheaply. If you repatriate the supply chains into Northern America and Europe, you're going to be looking at $5,000 iPhones, and consumers may not be willing to pay those prices. I think that this will create political tension on the global stage. I think that the future doctors watching this, the future, the people that actually, because, you know, a lot of us, I mean, certainly me, I'm nobody, but if you actually have some talent, you're going to want to make sure that you have some resources, you have some financial independence. If you're caught up in like a massive geopolitical, you know, currency war, and maybe even a hot war, which is what could come of this, if this standoff can't be solved with diplomacy, then you are going to need some independence. You're going to need a currency that is free from these nation state currencies. And that's why I actually think that Voltero, I think what Josh is doing with the Voltero, where you have the balance of gold and Bitcoin, is a lovely balance of like, and again, I'm not being paid, but like what Josh was saying earlier, anything that you own in your possession, anything you can touch is what's valuable. It's what really can't be replaced is what's valuable to you. Anything that is virtual, any like numbers in a bank balance, all of these are just hypothecations. They're just illuminations. They're not actually real. They're just promises. And so I'm kind of concerned about that. I'm concerned about the geopolitical conflict between the United States and China. And
Excellent stuff from Chris Ellis, very much predicting the future here. As we've seen a potential World War III last week with Iran attacking Israel, we still have the potential with China wanting very badly to take over Taiwan. And the idea is still there, true, that Bitcoin is something you can actually hold, something you can actually own, that you can have the private keys for. You can have a Trezor or a Ledger or whatever other kind of thing there is, and you could store those private keys. Josh Chagall, you got a little shout out there. What do you think about what Chris and what Will said about Bitcoin back in 2020?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't worked at Voltoro for a couple of years, but Chris is a great guy. He was always very forward thinking. He's doing a lot of work now and between Botswana as well, yeah, a really great. Always have very very insightful things to say. I always loved catching up with Chris, and yeah, hopefully I've invited him. So let's see if he sees this. It's always hard because everyone's all around the world in different places. It's always hard to know where they are and how they're coming in. But let's see what block we're up to now. I think we might have reached 5. Let's see. Where's that tab? So many tabs. By the way, I've also got, wait, that was oh no, we're still at 5. Also another great place to check out is mempool.space. You can see the blocks going through and see what's happening. You can see how many transactions are in the mempool. Yeah, lots of data points and a great little dashboard there for those that don't know that site. It's more for miners, but it's a great place to check out as well. Mempool.space. There it is. And yeah, what I find fascinating watching this is that you start to really understand how many people are using these networks, and some of these blocks actually have multiple things, because they could be opening up a lightning channel, and then those
Well, and
transactions happen
Josh, let's
inside.
just talk a little bit about what we're seeing here. So on the left, we can see the new blocks being formed. There's this kind of dashed line in the middle, and on the right, we can see the blocks that have been found. So this is what's happening. We're waiting for these blocks on the left to become the blocks on the right. As they say here, we have 6 blocks remaining until a new subsidy that would be 3.125 instead of 6 double
Yeah,
that, 6.25. So
yeah. There's
interesting,
also
Josh.
another great site called txstreet.com. Also a really great little visualizer for Bitcoin. You can I don't know if they're still around. Um, I just launched it now. It seems to just be, yeah, I don't know if it's still working, but it was a great visualizer as well, because it showed little sort of South Park characters getting onto train carts, which represented a block, and all
TXT.
the South Park.
It's still
Yeah,
there.
it's
TXT.io is the there you go.
.io. Oh yeah, there we go.
They changed it around. It's community launch now. There.
All right. There it is. So there you can see the SegWit, the segregated witness block as well. You can see all the people. These are all transactions coming in and out. On the other side is obviously Ethereum. So, this is the beautiful thing about the crypto space as a whole, is that this is the decentralization. This is the way that you cannot stop. Um, by having so many different currencies and so many things happening, Bitcoin being obviously the granddaddy, the most important one of them all. But and today
Now,
we're celebrating.
remember, Josh, this website was originally created to compare Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. But
Yeah.
as you can see, that, like you said, they changed it to Ethereum. I've reloaded the original configuration here, and you can see no one is using Bitcoin Cash.
No, no one at all. It's quite unfortunate. In fact, where are there should be a cart there. Maybe no one,
It says
maybe
their
the
last block
blockchain's
was
dead.
37 minutes ago. They have 414 transactions waiting on Bitcoin Cash. The
And
Bitcoin
if you
block
scroll
says
down,
23 minutes ago.
if you scroll down a bit, you can
Waiting at
see
a different
all.
bus stop.
That's the mempool. That's the mempool. They're all the transactions waiting
All
to
the
get in.
people waiting to use Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh.
And these are actually transactions waiting in the mempool that have got very low fees. So you'll see how
There's a question in the chat. Does Bcash have a halvening around the same time? They do originally have a halvening at the same time of Bitcoin, but it depends how fast their blocks come in.
yeah,
Or if
yeah,
their blocks come in slowly, they would have the halvening later than Bitcoin. I don't have the individual information about that, but they are similar in that way.
Yeah. Yep. So lots of cool stuff. I really love this visualization because it's such a nice, visceral way of seeing uh, everything.
How
You
big,
know
how
that.
big people are is equates to how big the transaction is as well. It's like,
Yeah,
the fatter the
yeah.
kid, the more Bitcoin being sent.
It's great. And on the Ethereum side, you see all the different protocols, the dexes and things like that. And I honestly feel that Bitcoiners, some of the hardcore maxis, don't give enough credit to Ethereum, because Ethereum, I feel, gave legitimacy to the idea of L2s. And it's funny because Bitcoin maxis are like, no, we've got to go L2, we've got to go Lightning. Yet on Ethereum, we're showing that that's how it's working on Ethereum. We're going with L2s for scaling, and I think it's it's all, we should all be working together. It's funny is we get the same problem with Bitcoin and gold and silver bugs. They're like gold bugs like Peter Schiff, like Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is like gold, but it all works together. It's all sovereign money, and that's what's important. That's what we got to keep front of mind. Yeah, it's funny. We've been at 6 blocks for a while now, but it TikTok another block
As it says here, the
Lamar
last block
said.
was 26 minutes ago. We do seem to be a little bit delayed.
26
Yeah.
minutes. Oh, you tripping balls, Bitcoin.
Well, the other thing is that maybe miners are dropping off. It's such a I found that really fascinating, that the mathematics could of this system is so well understood that Satoshi could make the mathematics be about 10 minutes on average. And it's spot on. It is about 10 minutes on average. I find that concept really, really, really interesting. How can you
But Josh,
get
go through it slow for the slow people. It's been 30 minutes for the Bitcoin block. How could it be 10 minutes on average?
Yeah, well, what a block is made up of is and why it's a chain is because you're getting what's called a hash. I don't know where to start. It's such a long thing. So a hash is a
I
one-way
just meant more,
mathematical
Josh, about
function.
average, that some blocks can be 30 minutes and some blocks could be 5 minutes. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. We've just had
Yeah.
another block. This was around a 30-minute block. We have 5 blocks remaining. As we saw on Transaction Street there, it did take a long time for that block. But yeah,
Yeah.
remember, 10 minutes is an average, right? A lot of people say 10 minutes like guaranteed, set in stone, it will be 10 minutes. But sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. And how this happens is that you have you take all the transactions you want to calculate, and you try to get a meg full, because or 2 meg, or you try to fill as much as you can, because then more you get all of those transaction fees as the miner, and you hash all of those with the hash of the last block. And then you create a new hash, but you try to find a hash with as many zeros on the front as possible. And if more and more miners jump on board to try to solve that puzzle, the network adds an extra zero that you have to calculate. So this is a very, very hard calculation, and you do that by changing the nonce out, the n once, and this is phenomenal that you can determine the average to be 10 minutes. I find that so fascinating. But yeah, it's here we are, and we've got another probably 50 minutes on average, but you never know. It could be in the next 20 minutes that those 5 blocks go through. So we don't know. It's a surprise. It's the fun surprise. It's the surprise that keeps on surprising, and we'll see what happens.
Well, and as we discussed at the beginning of this show, it is possible that the miners will turn on more miners during these last couple of blocks in an attempt to be the mining pool that wins the all valuable Halvening block, especially with people collecting Satoshis now. there's a good chance those Satoshis or that entire block would be worth more than the
Yeah.
6.25 Bitcoins. We've
Four
just had
blocks.
another block
4
right
blocks to
now.
go.
1 minute ago, there's 4 blocks to go. This block, as we can see, was about a 2-minute block as opposed to the previous block that was a 27-minute block. So yes,
Yeah.
10 minutes on average, not every 10 minutes like a clock. But it is
Yeah.
fascinating. I agree, Josh, how he created that magic to get this number down to something reasonable and human understanding in the 10-minute
Yeah.
segments.
And what's also quite interesting for those that don't know, they always say like, oh, Litecoin is 4 times as fast. You know, why aren't we using Litecoin? It's faster. But actually, for the security, you actually need to if you wait 4 blocks to make sure that you can't reverse this transaction on for the same amount of mathematical security, you would have to wait like 16 blocks on Litecoin. So it's not like it's faster at all because you need to wait that longer amount. Now Litecoin does
False
have
economy.
it is a false economy. I mean, in one way, if you don't care about that and you want to just have one uh, confirmation, you want it at least in a block and very weak security, then Litecoin, I guess, is the choice. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen very often where a someone has done. I've actually never heard of anyone double spend. I have heard of someone, but it's very, very rare. Double spending someone. It just you need to be quite prepared and
Is-
well organized.
So people have 51% attacked certain chains like Verge and stuff, right? Has anyone 51% attacked a proof of stake chain yet?
Yeah. I mean, there has been proof of stake chains that have been taken over. Yeah, but the big one, I've never heard of a major chain, a blue chip being taken down. That I have heard of proof of work chains because they take a SHA-256 hash and launch their chain when and then everyone mining Bitcoin just goes, oh, look at that funny little thing, crush it, and then go back to Bitcoin, you know, and so that's why they're always trying to find new hashing algorithms that don't exist yet and rolling their own, and then those, because they've rolled their own hashing algorithm, they that you can find clashes and conflicts and actually, you know, because it's brand new math, so someone smarter than the inventor
Makes it
then
competitive. Otherwise, they can't. You know, they can just get shafted by people diverting mining power that was from Bitcoin onto like
exactly. If they've developed sort of ASICs or something for, you know, script or whatever, even if they use script, they can be smashed. So I mean,
We've
proof of
got
stake's
some
an
excellent
interesting one.
questions in the chat. Starship Schrodinger says it's literally like buses. That's why the transaction street visualization is so good. And I think this is a very related question. Gerbot says, how can a specific block have a larger reward? And I think, Josh, you would agree that it has to do with what they're doing here, where they're loading the buses. People are paying a certain amount of fees, say 72 Satoshis per byte in the top one, 51 Satoshis per byte in the lower one. Depending on the number of fees and the number of people paying the transactions, the mining pool gets a little larger or a little smaller reward per
Yeah.
block. Is that about
Yeah.
right, Josh?
Yeah, that's right. And that's why I think like people complain about surge pricing, meaning that the prices suddenly surge, but surge pricing in a free market is really, really important. And we have to normalize it because a true, very, very efficient market doesn't have lines. Like you shouldn't get waiting periods, lines in a true free market, because what happens is if the line gets too long, the price should go up. So the line goes away. So people that aren't ready to pay that will just not use that. And that's how the market just gets rid of. If a coffee shop, for instance, has a line all the way around the corner, the coffee shop needs to lift its prices for its great coffee, and that line will become shorter until the point of time where you can have efficiency of getting that coffee the store owner's actually making the same amount of money with no line because they've just lifted their coffee prices. And that's really how the Bitcoin block gets higher rewards, is by people paying more, and the price surging for high usage time, similar as electricity. At peak hour, you pay more for your electricity than you do, and same with Uber. Uses
Well, and
surge
we can
pricing
even
as well.
we can even see it here in the visualization. People are boarding the 79 Satoshis bus, but we saw just a second ago people got off of that bus and got onto the previous bus because they want to pay a lower fee. We don't know until the block is accepted what the fee is going to be. So there's this kind of balancing and rebalancing of the blocks, which is excellently shown by this visualization. But you could also see it in the other page that Josh suggested, mempool.space. Over here with these mempool goggles, we can see some of these large transactions are perhaps locked in, whereas these smaller ones are still moving around looking for a better deal on their transaction cost.
That's right. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Really cool stuff.
So another good question in the chat from Ziam. He says, "Will it be more expensive to get into block 840,000 than normal?" And I'm not sure if he means like to be in it as like a historical transaction, like that was your goal. Josh, do you think they could even configure that? Is there a way that you could rig it so you'd be included? And in general, while the subsidy is going down from 6.25 to 3.125, I don't think that will really affect the cost of transactions. What do you
No,
think,
but it's a,
Josh?
it's a good
Yeah.
point, right? That you can pay for, if you want to be in that block as part of history, then you can pay the fee to make sure that you're included, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's-
And you will get a surge. Typically that has happened. If you look at halving blocks, they are more expensive because people do want to be part of that. I don't know why. You can say, look, I've got my chart. I don't know. It actually, now with ordinals, maybe minting on that block might be interesting, because then you follow a Satoshi from that block on. Don't know. It's all changed now with
It
ordinals.
does seem like something that could be more collectible if you had it in that block. In the old days, could you still put some text in that block, Josh? Is there possible that people are kind of graffitiing the blockchain here, or in additional
Absolutely.
to
Yeah, yeah.
ordinals and such? Yeah.
Yeah, you have a small amount of space, the op return code, where you can place a little bit. I hashed my wedding photo into the blockchain at some stage. God knows where that is or what block. That's the thing. I don't know, but I did do it. I took a photo, made a hash of it, and stuck it in the blockchain, to prove. And for me, it was kind of a great way of notarizing, so I could prove later on, no, this happened on this day. Here's a photo, and I can rehash it. But yeah, it's absolutely possible. You can stick some data into the blockchain.
Let's see
Actually,
where. Go ahead, Josh.
This is why actually the other side of the scaling debate is that if you make blocks cheap, that people will just flood it with spam until it becomes expensive again. But spammers are only willing to pay so much. But humans have an insatiable appetite for inserting stuff into an immutable ledger. So things like my crappy wedding image, some miner had to do some compute to actually include that, and continue holding that. So yeah, it's a very interesting one, because if we had, I don't know, gigameg blocks, like some blockchains wanted to build, people would just fill it up. Specifically, if they wanted to attack the chain, they just flood it with data, massive amounts of data, and then it would have to. The only way that you can stop that is by lifting the price, and then everyone go, oh, the blocks aren't big enough. So you make the blocks even bigger, the price would come back down, and then the attacker would flood even more data in. So it's not as easy as just lifting the block. I do think there is room to actually move the block size limit a little bit, for sure. I'm not one of these like never move it from 1 meg. Just like it's silly to say let's make it smaller. I do feel there is the option to do that. The only problem is it is a hard fork, and that is harder to deal with. Although Ethereum doesn't care, they just hard fork every second day with a new thing, which I also think is really amazing. And we see that Ethereum people, they just go on and they move, they upgrade and they keep going. So that's a very different
Wow.
culture. That's also fascinating to see that these different chains have different cultures.
I don't think we'd want a hard fork, but as Bill Gates said, 640K is enough. So I don't think you have
Yeah.
to worry, Josh. It's going to be enough. We also have some more great questions from the chat. Shout out to NFT Hunter. He says he's on his third wife. He can't erase the last two. It's unfortunate. It was stored in some kind of blockchain, and maybe it's his third halvening, and he's on his third wife. So looking
Oh.
forward to that fourth halvening. Still another chance out there. Romance
He's
lives
on-
on with NFT Hunter.
Yeah, he's on wife changing money.
Wife chain. He's gone on that wife chain.
Wife
And shout out to
Wife chain.
Starship Schrodinger. He says, how many blocks after the halvening block will you stay live to ensure no reorganization? Will you stay live for 1 confirmation, 2, 0 conf? I don't know. It's hard to say because we don't really affect the blockchain here. We wouldn't be able to do anything positive or minus if Bitcoin doesn't work or if we did have a reorg. I think the main people that would be watching that closely were the people we were talking about earlier with the ordinals and the inscriptions and the rare Satoshis. If you had your message in that block, if you had your mining pool with that block, I think you'd be very interested in preventing a reorg and not having that happen. I think mostly that's not going to happen. We're going to go through here. Josh, do you think there's a chance of a reorganization, and maybe just tell people generally like what that would be like?
Well, no, not on Bitcoin. There's just too much hash power behind Bitcoin I mean, there's always like little mini reorgs.
We have a new block. We are 3 blocks away. New block found. Good.
Oh, look at that sound. Everyone's celebrating. 3 blocks. Yeah. Look, reorgs, they can happen. They happen quite often if there's a race condition, and then the old one falls away, and we keep on going. Where a true reorg would happen is if it was a contentious hard fork, and there would be a race. Who's going to live, and it would be like you might be 6 blocks in, and then eventually it runs out, and that would all fall away to being the true Bitcoin again. So all of those transactions would reorganize. 6 blocks is probably very, very improbable to happen. You'd be looking at maybe one.
So
block
Josh, there would be
reorganize.
different versions of the blockchain. The blockchain is built 1 block at a time, and if we had a disagreement over what the next block would be, we found another block. We have 2 blocks remaining.
Wow, that
as
was
we
quick.
mentioned earlier, these blocks do come faster sometimes, and this is definitely one of those times. That's why I'm glad, even though Dan wasn't sure, I'm glad we went on early to make sure we could hang with you guys and have some little runway here before we get to the halvening. We are 3 blocks, 2 blocks away. Checking in our other sites, we found a block 15 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, and 1 minute ago. So those blocks are coming in faster. These people here must be running to catch their bus. They must be dashing and jumping aboard. The halvening is happening.
Yeah. The Springer fan. I mean, that's just a weird thing to throw in it.
On the
Yeah.
aggressive kidnapping.
Well, or especially after the Berlin Christmas markets. I don't know if Springer vans through crowds.
But at least they added something. I think we had the first halvening, and I don't even think anything happened with the rocket ship. I think it might have just reset to like next halvening in 2,000 blocks or whatever the number may be. So I appreciate all the work these guys have done. And there's also many other halvening countdown websites, and a shout out to those guys. I mean, there doesn't need to be just one. And I also enjoy watching this here on mempool.space. As Josh said, we can tell you now that Foundry USA got the last block, Ant Pool before that, and Foundry USA the 3 blocks before that via BTC before that. So if you were going to bet, just looking at that there, Foundry USA seems like a good winner to get this last block, although we never know what it's going to be. There are 2 blocks remaining. They estimate 17 minutes at thehalvening.com. Let us know in the chat, how are you celebrating the Halvening? Do you have a special drink? I've got water, not very fun, but it's what I ended up with. It used to be tea. Dan, are you ready there in England to celebrate the Halving?
Oh, I'm just in England, but obviously on WCN. But there is also the Bitcoin Film Festival in Warsaw, in Poland. So I think that's where a number
Yeah,
of,
that's where Vlad is at.
yeah, Vlad and stuff. Vlad and Nind and Christian from Mallorca Blockchain Days.
That sounds very cool. I wish I could be there. I've been following them on Twitter. They've had a lot of great tweets about the Bitcoin Film Festival in Poland. We are seeing the rocket seems to be fueling up, perhaps from the Sprinter van. We've got some chats, questions. Let's see. Ziam says, possibly fewer transactions in block 840,000 than other due to sentimentality, etc. Fewer but heavier. Yes, it is possible. We were talking earlier and looking at these charts, how the blocks are built, that people might want to try to get a block through faster. But then the other side of that is they do have to solve the math problem. So it is kind of up in the air which one of these mining pool groups are going to solve the math problem. The main way to do that would be to turn on more miners. If you had any extra miners, which again seems like having extra cash to buy Bitcoin with when you're already completely in the market. But if you just happen to have some more and you turned them on, and I don't know if you'd wait till the last minute like that, if there's an advantage or something, but I do believe, based on ordinals, inscriptions, and rare Satoshis, that this block might be more valuable than it was seen in the last halvening, when they might have just shrugged it off as just another block. Starship is celebrating with rum. Very cool. Solar Roller is going to make a coffee. Remember, it could be very late for a lot of these people. I know it's late for Dan, and it's early for Josh. Josh, what do you think? It's getting pretty exciting. We're getting close to the halving.
Getting close. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do, because usually it's closer to nighttime, so I can have a drink. But I'm a gentleman. I do not drink before gentleman's hour, which is midday. So I might need to have some, I don't know, bacon and eggs or something instead. But yeah, this is exciting. Look at all these people. So these are all live people down here celebrating on the Halvening.
It looks like we're up to 900 people watching on thehalvening.com. I think we've got, I don't know, maybe, we have 54 viewers here with us on the World Crypto Network. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe below if you haven't already. But yes, it is starting to get closer. I think a lot of people are getting to one of these Halvening countdown web pages and just getting ready for, as we've been saying, a real nothing. A real lot of nothing.
Real nothing, bro.
A real lot of nothing. But
party, guys.
What's interesting is that, and I said it before, it's number go up technology and number go down technology, because it's the number go down technology that makes the number go up, because the number of rewards goes down and the number of price go up. Just in case you're not confused enough by that statement, basically the halvening is where the block reward of Bitcoin goes down. We started back in 2009 with 50 Bitcoin per block. And then in 2013, we went to 25 Bitcoin per block. And then right now we are in, what was it, 6.25 Bitcoin per block. And then we're going to go down to 3 and whatever it is. So that's what we're waiting for. And miners the big conversation really now is, well, will there be enough of people paying fees to take over from the block reward? Because that was what Satoshi wanted in the beginning, that you have to have more fees being paid to cover the block reward. So
And
we'll
that
see.
fee argument was always very difficult to make, Josh, but now with the ordinals and other things, it's possible it might work. We have another block. We are one block away from the halvening. I wanted to give another shout out to everybody in the chat. Kevin and his wife are ready with the HODL beers. Starship Schrodinger's staying up late, but it's normal bedtime. Johnny's drinking Conway's, feeling all right. Solar Roller says Josh should have a beer. There's some kind of a consensus around that. They're forming blocks.
All right.
Harmony of Nature says Netherlands represent, making some lime water. That sounds good. And we are one block away. As Schrodinger says, 1 Bitcoin is worth 1 Bitcoin before the halvening, and 1 Bitcoin will be worth 1 Bitcoin after the halvening. I agree with that statement. That is not financial advice.
All right. I will have a beer. I've got one. I just won't leave right now to go get it because I just don't want to miss that little tick over. It could happen any second as these blocks get hashed away.
We have turned the sound on for the halvening.com. We'll see how this sound goes.
Everything's happening. For those that don't know what a hash function is, it's a one-way mathematical function. It means you can stick anything into a magic box and out the other end comes the same amount of numbers and letters, but always different. It's like a little fingerprint for data. And but you can't stick that thing in and send it the other way and recreate the stuff that you put in. So meaning you can put a book in and get a 120 character string, but you can't put the 128 character string and get the book out. So it's a great way of getting a fingerprint, and it's always different. If you put that book in, you'll get 128 string, and if you put that book in with one little full stop that's different, you'll get a whole different string out the other end. So it's a great way to prove that nothing's ever been changed, and this is how we know that no transactions have ever been changed once it's in a block.
And a shout out to the halvening.com. They've got 1,000 viewers. We've got 60 viewers here. If you're keeping an eye on mempool.space, you can see the incoming transactions. We're having an explosion of transactions. So as we discussed before, people probably want to be in this special last block. They're probably willing to pay more. We can see here previous blocks were more around 2,000, 3,000 transactions. This current block, they're looking at 8,000 incoming transactions. I don't know if they'll all be included in this block. Similarly, when we take a look at the transaction street visualizer, a lot of large South Park people, large transactions are waiting to trying to get in here. The fees are up 111 Satoshis per byte for this historic block number 840,000, which is coming in any minute now. There it is. Happy Halvening number 4. The new block is found.
Yes.
Yay.
Well
Turn on the sound. Here it is. Do. Let's show all the people here. I'm here. Dan's here. Josh is here. Everybody's here.
Another halvening. Congratulations, everyone.
Another halvening.
Done.
Happy Halvening number 4. There we go. We did it. Bitcoin halvening number 4. Woo!
Great effort, everyone.
Give us a like, everyone. Give us a like. Thank you.
Incredible
Also, Gerbot and Tobias, Solar Roller, Ian. Big shout out to Joni, Yoni. And
you can see the fireworks
Evan.
here on mempool.space. That's a special graphical fireworks that happens only once every 4 years, I'd guess.
Yeah.
Nothing happened here on Transaction Street. Shout out to the chat. Woo! Grizzle. Congratulations. Woo. And nothing's crashed. We're going to wait for some configurations. Hey, Vlad, how's it going? We're joined by Vlad, sometimes in Romania, maybe somewhere else. How's it going, Vlad?
Hi, I'm in Poland right now. I'm at a halving party here in Warsaw.
Oh yeah.
But for some reason, we got tired and we decided to join the live stream from the hotel room.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Happy Halvening. It just happened. You just kicked in as a block 8,400, whatever it is. 80,000. Yeah, 840,000.
840,000.
Who minded?
Vlad, let's see, we'll check. How many Halvenings have you been through? It was mined by Via BTC. Let's see, is that the one? Yes, I'm gonna say yeah, that's the one. The one previously was SBI Crypto. We hadn't announced that yet, but Via BTC, we've had the block after 840,001 just mined by Brains Pool. So probably
Did they
a lot
put
of
any
competition. It's tough to see. I don't know if there's a message on this website, but we'll find out soon. Let's see.
But we got to 2.33 meg, and everyone was trying to get into that block, so the fees went insane for that little bit. I don't know if
There's an upward turn there at the top.
there's an
It's
upward turn.
the
Yeah.
Coinbase reward for the miner. Slightly below.
This one, I mean,
There.
RSK block. This thing.
Yeah. RSK block. Yeah.
I don't know if that's
It was me, sorry.
Like merge mine of like RSK.
Yeah, I think that's merge mined. Yeah.
The side chain.
What
mined
about the other
by-
one? Did someone try to send a message?
Tough to say. We're not seeing much here. We're seeing it says via BTC mined by Buzz 120. So that's presumably an individual miner. We see in the upper turn it says RSK block colon R caret. Not very interesting. So I don't think we're seeing much there. Looks like maybe some magical code or something. But we are here. We're over the halvening. That incoming transactions has spiked almost as high as 12,000 incoming transactions. Like we said, there was probably a rush of people wanting to be in the last block, in the halving block. 101 satoshis still for the two blocks later.
It's pretty simple. I got them all.
Yeah, Gideon's been pumping the price up of the fees single-handedly. Vlad, how's the film festival?
I'm pumping just because I'm hodling, so it's fine.
Nice.
Yeah, the
You
film
heard it.
festival is fine, Joshua. It's a lot of fun, but a bit cultish.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna
Nice.
complain about anything. I enjoy. Tomorrow I'm going to do a presentation with my girlfriend who's next to me.
Hi,
Yeah.
I want to say hi.
And
Hi.
we have a song that we wrote. You're gonna find that on my YouTube channel if you can't be here.
Nice.
Basically, I tried to create the Hey Jude of Bitcoin songs. And if you want, you can get a premiere. I don't have my guitar with me. I'm gonna have one tomorrow to highlight and demonstrate how I wrote it and how we came up with the idea.
Yeah.
But the chorus is for a better life by Bitcoin. And it goes like this. It's super catchy. It's supposed to get in your head and you're never gonna forget it. And you're gonna hum it and you're probably gonna buy Bitcoin.
Right on, right on. This is what it is. See, Bitcoin has decentralized all marketing down to people on the street that want to create songs. And there's been some great songs along the way. One of my favorites still is the Alpaca song. I think it's called Alpaca Socks. Still one of my great favorites in the space. But yeah, I can't wait to hear Vlad's. And sorry, what was your girlfriend's name? I'm sorry.
Ani, I'm Ani. Nice to meet you.
Ani, nice to meet you too, Ani. And yeah, I can't wait to hear Vlad and Ani's rendition of Buy Bitcoin. Yeah, what's it called, by the way, the song? What do people search
Buy
for?
Bitcoin.
Buy Bitcoin. Yeah, of
Buy
course, buy
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
With an
Buy Bitcoin
exclamation
song?
point at the end.
There you go. All right.
Josh
Basically,
mentioning
it's
Bitcoin songs there. I might have to play just a little bit of this classic. Sorry to cut you off, Vlad, but this is the Proud Horn song. This is Bitcoin is a Bubble. I think the price of Bitcoin is around $100 here. Let's just listen to a little bit of the classic Proud Horn song, if it works.
Higher than a fantasy, like a singularity. see, like a singularity, both living in a world full of denial. I'm feeling a catastrophe, they're thinking it can fly away. Oh, I keep on riding my bear, though I'm falling a tear. Oh, it's gonna crash to the ground, and I'm not backing down. Bitcoin is a bubble. Bitcoin is a bubble. It's only a bubble. Bitcoin is a bubble.
Nice. Nice. So find Alpaca
Absolute
Socks.
classic.
Alpaca Socks is also a classic. Chuck that one. It's a German guy, actually. I met him once and I was like some sort of cult fan. Like, you're the Alpaca Socks guy.
I think the best written song about Bitcoin is the one by David Bennett, if I'm not mistaken. It's a country song. It's very
Oh,
smart. I like the lyrics.
yeah, yeah. What was this? Yeah, he had a show, he had a podcast. Is that guy? Did he have a podcast
That
as
was
well?
before my time, but I discovered his music and I realized, okay, this guy wrote very simple lyrics, but at the same time, he's not wasting any words. He's describing this exactly how it is. And there's this lyric about his friends from Tennessee who don't want to be millionaires, they just want to be free. And I liked that. I was like, okay, this guy has that agorist spirit. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, nice.
Send me the link on that one, Vlad, and I'll gladly pull it up. We've got Josh's song. I think this is the one you want, Josh. Alpaca
That's the one.
Socks by
Yeah,
Max
it's
Min. Here
great.
we go. I actually haven't heard this one myself, so we'll check it out here live.
We are on our way. Come with us. So hungry for change. It will come so fast. We mine for our coins. Deep inside the blocks. We're spending our cash on alpaca socks. Turning the market round, ready to take it down, down. We're just gaining ground, no one to slow us down. Our fortune might be strong, everyone knows it's wrong, wrong. Waiting for a new dawn, maybe it will take long.
Wow, that was a fantastic song, Josh. What an incredible music video as well. They
Yeah,
really
it's
went
really
all out.
good.
I'm surprised I hadn't heard it before. No, that was really good,
Great.
man.
Yeah, it's really good. Great message. I remember listening to it over and over back in the day, just thinking, yeah, authority might be strong, but everyone knows it's wrong. You know, we're just mining deep inside our blocks, spending our cash on alpaca socks.
Great stuff. Vlad, do you have any more about your song where people can check it out when you launch it tomorrow?
Just a second. I'm gonna send you the country
All right,
one, and then I'm
I
gonna
got
look for a
one
link.
more.
Maybe
I
you
got one
can
more.
premiere.
We'll play the country song. We can premiere yours as well if you want, Vlad. This has
Yeah,
always
let me find the link.
This has always been my favorite Bitcoin song. We played it live on the show quite a while ago with Andreas and Davi Barker. And also like Josh's song, I hadn't heard it before, but this is Zhao Tonged, The End of Silk Road.
Yeah.
Boys and Men.
I love that.
We log on together
Yeah.
on my favorite side.
Oh no, not this.
Yeah.
How
I
could
hear them
you
sing.
let this happen? How could you not see the signs? Could have lasted forever. Now the feds got your side. could you not see this coming? How could you not see the light? When I can't sleep at night, 'cause my screen glows so bright. I just wanna buy all these drugs on your side. 2 people dead, was that you, Mr. Dread? Now Silk Road's just been shut down. Although we've come to the end of Silk Road, now I've no place to go. It's so natural to supply to me. I love to you, although we've
It's so natural. You supply to me, I log on to you. Just a beautiful, wonderful Bitcoin song about good old good old Dread Pirate Roberts, yes, and the Silk Road. But I think we've got Vlad's song. Are we ready to premiere this live? Vlad, you ready? You want to tell
I'm
people anything
nervous.
about it? All right. So don't be nervous.
It's my singing, so
He's better in the episode.
Oh,
All right. Well, this is the Buy Bitcoin song from the Bitcoin Film Fest 2024 by Vlad, and it's available on Bitcoin Takeover on YouTube. So check that out. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great, Vlad. Good job. I like
Yeah,
the
good
it's super
job.
catchy, like da 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 da. Buy Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
While you're
it's in your
drinking
head,
scotch.
yeah.
I like the while you're drinking scotch, buy Bitcoin. Sell your golden watch, buy Bitcoin. That's great.
So both of these were her idea.
Oh,
Yeah, this catchy idea, it was my idea. Because
Sell your golden
Nice.
watch. It was her idea.
that
Get
was
that
one of my
Midas
favorite
touch.
lines.
That was mine.
Sell your golden watch. That was great. We've
Yeah.
also got people in the chat. They say, great job, super caliente, catchy song, well done. So good job, Vlad. Good job,
Yeah,
Vlad's
nice,
girlfriend.
nice.
Welcome on the
So
show.
you got this for the first time in the world. You're the only person outside of me and my girlfriend who heard this, and maybe she made some friends listen to this. I don't know, but the idea is that we're going to premiere this tomorrow at the film festival in front of a live audience.
Nice.
And I asked for a guitar just to show that I only had 2 chords that I have been playing for about 10 years, and I thought they sounded nice together. And I was playing this to my girlfriend on Christmas when she was drawing next to me and said, that sounds like a Buy Bitcoin song. And I said, what? And there was that da-da-da part. And she said, you can turn that into Buy Bitcoin. And that's how it all started. And that's why she's my girlfriend, I guess. She pushes me to be creative. She sees something and imagines a better way for it to become. So yeah, that's a very nice collaboration. She wrote half the lyrics. I put everything together. She also had a better concept for a video. I'm not sure why it was so laggy. Maybe it was only on my side, but it wasn't fluid when you played it. At least the audio was fine.
It seemed okay, but I was just glad you finally made a basket by the end of the video. I was worried you wouldn't make one. But we
Yeah, that's
also
the
have
message, You buy Bitcoin and then you win at life. You get a girlfriend and you're happier. You get in better shape.
I was gonna say, Vlad, are you gonna be shopping for a Toyota Supra soon? Has it come true?
To be honest, it was my idea that we start with, at this time that he played this music, I just making the Supra Lego, I guess. It was a Supra Lego. And I said, like, Vlad, we should start with these pictures that I made the Supra Lego, and we will finish it with real Supra. But it wasn't possible now.
We don't have the budget right now, but maybe we'll do a second version with Supra. Maybe.
Yeah, it could be a good idea for this video.
Exactly. I think you could do a follow-up video, and it could even be called Supra. Vlad, there's a good idea for a song right there. And then I think that's a great visual hook with the Lego and then the car at the end. But we've got also this from
unfortunately we couldn't
from
make
the Halvening.com. They say they have an animation, and we can even restart animation. So let's see what happens here from Halvening.com. Oh, everybody's getting on the ship. It's really serious business. Woo!
This is the Halvening.
Looks like a lightsaber going by the moon.
Nice.
What a fun animation. They've really done it up this year. Shout out to the Halvening.com. We've been enjoying their work for multiple Halvenings now. It's a very strange thing to say.
Well,
and there they
I already busted
DJing
this
on the
out.
moon.
There's 18 years old, the last little bit here. So I'll enjoy this, even though it's morning. It's before gentleman's hour. You saying while you're drinking scotch. I mean, it's not quite scotch. It's just,
You really like
I mean, it's a blended scotch whiskey. Yeah, it's been sitting in a barrel for 18 years. So what better time to polish it off? All right. Everybody, cheers to another 4 years. And by the way, Vlad, I really love that you've reignited the discussion about scaling. I think you single-handedly set, because people say like, oh, it's such a boring conversation. For me, it's not boring at all. It's a very, very important conversation. I feel that there is way more to be had, and we mentioned it in the show before that the scaling debate is never over, because we're always going to have to want to scale more and more and more and get more people into working with this, whether that's scaling through alts or whether that's scaling directly on L1 or L2, L3, L4 on Bitcoin or whatever it is. But the discussion of scaling and how we can grow the separation of money and state is a very important discussion, and we shouldn't stop talking about it. So yeah, I just want to shout out to you for having the balls to just go out there and say, no, you know what? Because I know that you are deep in the maxi space, and they just don't like that conversation. They just want to hold right there, and they don't want to move it. But I think it's important that we have to, and I mean, I just like yourself consider myself a maxi. I'm more of a competition maximalist, but you consider yourself a Bitcoin maxi, and part of that is how can we make sure that people just don't go off and do something else on different chains, you know, in a way. But for me, it's really good that you've reignited that conversation. I think it's important.
Now I'm gonna say something that's gonna get me canceled once again, but without proper scaling, Bitcoin is just a pyramid scheme where the sooner you enter, the better the experience you get. So if you come maybe in 10, 20 years and we're not scaling, you're gonna get onboarded on some pediment, which is custodial. So you're gonna get priced out of self-custody, and you're going to enjoy something which is subpar and defeats the purpose of Bitcoin.
So how could you work your solution for this the second layer, Lightning or something like?
Well,
I like Lightning, but I tried to send a payment today with my Phoenix wallet, and Async, which is the LSP, has the best connected node in the entire Lightning network, and I failed 3 times consecutively. And it was so annoying just to see this, because I gave up on my home node because it was not reliable. I accepted the LSP situation. I'm trying to avoid custodial as much as I can, even though that's more efficient. And it was annoying today. Like, I was thinking, we are trying to push this as the technology of the future to normies, and we're saying this is going to work, this is going to make Bitcoin function very well, but Lightning hasn't really grown and hasn't really gotten better. I think the experience for me, at least, and it's anecdotal, maybe it doesn't apply to everyone else, but I'm getting more failed payments now than I did last year and 2 years ago. So there's a discussion to be had here. I believe that drive chains for their trade-offs that you're trusting miners to not steal are decent, because they're going to onboard everyone with their own keys, with their own UTXO, with some added benefits like privacy or scalability or smart contracts or whatever you want. You can get that. If there's demand for that, the market will provide. If not, I don't think it's obscene to increase the block size. I think it was BIP 103 that said after every halving to double the block size. If we go to 8 megabytes, I don't think the average node runner is gonna feel that, you know? But it's gonna help some people tremendously just to pay lower fees to onboard.
This is not a question on the general question of the mining fees in general, but anyway, thank you.
I mean, I'm gonna get canceled by certain people for saying this. There's a lot of money to be made in a world where Bitcoin doesn't scale and is kept like this. And I think you need sometimes, so I was at the film festival today and I heard a lot of terrible jokes about me bringing Roger back and getting the blame for it. And I think it's useful to bring people like this because they create the sort of conflict which in 2017 gave us Segwit and the Lightning Network. Now they're not enough to onboard the users that want to use Bitcoin. So maybe we're gonna get something better if we have a more, I guess, more in-depth conversation about this. But people are too complacent. They say, oh, Bitcoin is just fine, we should ossify. I mean, I don't want to be part of a system where I get the privilege of having been here for a number of years, and I get a much better experience than someone who gets in today, buys $50 worth of Bitcoin, and then realizes he must pay 10 or 20 for the fee.
Yeah, sure. I didn't want to open another discussion again. Sorry for this. Don't got me wrong.
No, that's why I'm here. That's why people say I'm trolling.
Have you been at the crypto? Have you been at the crypto castle last 2 years or 3 years? I think I remember you from somewhere. let me
No,
conclude. So
I remember you
Cryptocast
very well
Symposium
from Hackers
or
Congress.
Prague.
My
Yeah,
HCPP.
okay. Thank you. Just wanted to figure out where I know your face from. Thank you.
And I think Mallorca Blockchain Days, you were there, Gideon, a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, true. Of course, Mallorca also, yeah, true.
Well, I think Vlad, it is a discussion worth
Sorry
having.
that I need to laugh.
There are people who
This
can't afford like to pay to send
experience.
Bitcoin around. There are people who need to have cheaper entryways, and if we can't get the Lightning Network working, we have to go back to Bitcoin, and we might need larger blocks. We might need drive chains. All of the ideas are back on the table again. So I think it's a
Come on,
discussion
bros.
worth
We
having.
we are under OGs right now. Do you really believe in a payment system on the Bitcoin network right now after, I don't know, 10 years? Please tell me the truth.
Well, again, they have to make the Lightning Network
Yeah,
work. If the Lightning
I do.
Network doesn't work, the Bitcoin network is still there. So I think we can continue with
Of
options on
course,
that. But that's
but Lightning obviously is just one-to-one payment. So there is no way, no reason to pay your rent or your whatever contract
My
with
God, it
any
started.
I know
Yeah.
we are starting it exactly.
Holy fuck.
Well,
Yeah,
let's see how it goes, Gideon. We'll have to see how it goes. But there's been a few more blocks since the Halvening block. We're even about to watch
These are
the
super
Halvening
high
block
for
drop
you.
off the screen. But as we said, after it happens, nothing will change. Bitcoin will be the same, and things will just keep going. So we'll
It's
have to discuss this.
$163 to move Bitcoin to transact in the next block.
My God. My father told me the price will.
We're going
You know,
on with the fees again, but yeah, we'll have to talk about this more in the future, Vlad, about the fees. I think we're going to head to the end of this Halvening show. We've been on pretty long today, and we did the Bitcoin group as well. So I'm just going to throw Dan. What kind of thoughts do you have about the new epoch of Bitcoin, the next 4 years? Predictions, what you'd like to see, and then we'll just go down the line, let everybody have a last word, and then I think we're going to head towards the exit. So Dan, for the
Well,
next 4 years.
I'm already excited about the next Halvening party. This one's been just such a great big shabazz, and watching it tick over was just amazing, incredible. And so yeah, I'm looking forward for 4 years ahead. Right now, I'm looking forward to the next one. And there's going to be even more excitement next time.
Josh Shigala, I think you've been here more halvenings than anyone. What do you think about the next 4 years and the halving that's coming up?
oh man, it's just wonderful to see. It is what it is. It's been pre-written. You can always count on the fact that Bitcoin will halve again and again and again. And yeah, I want to say that we are having this really important conversation about the fees in Bitcoin. I think it's an important one, but it's one for another day, and we should make sure that look, we got now Chris joining. There we go. Better late than never, Chris. Better late than never.
Hi.
That's what they say.
Well, we're heading towards the end of the show, but we're joined by Chris Ellis. Chris, what do you think about this Blockcoin halvening, Bitcoin halvening, and maybe the next one? I'm running out of words here. Go ahead.
No, I think it's great. I think everyone is always very excited when this happens. This is our fourth one now, right? And we've been there since the beginning, since the first one, you and me.
I wasn't at that very first one, but I was at the other three, and we've had 3 now here on the World Crypto Network, and yeah, it's the fourth halvening. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I was there for the first one. That was when I got involved. I had a flatmate called Leo who helps me on this project called ProTip. And he was the person that introduced me to Bitcoin. And you should thank the person that got you into Bitcoin. I thank Leo right now for introducing me to Bitcoin. I got into Bitcoin because of that halving. And I came for the price and I stayed for the idea. And I never looked back. It changed my life. It saved my life in many ways. And that's my advice. And then every 4 years we have this kind of ceremony, right? And we come together, and yeah, I don't know what more to say really. It's just very exciting.
That's awesome.
Well, it's great to see you, Chris. I'm glad you're doing well. And the halvenings and Bitcoin have changed us every 4 years. We keep coming back together, and it's great to have you here for this. And a shout out to everybody in the chat. Starship Schrodinger says there's nobody he'd rather spend it with. And thanks to Tom and crew. Let's go to Vlad. What about this halvening and the next halvenings in the future? Go ahead, Vlad.
Yeah, so I believe we're gonna get Supras and then girlfriends. That's my prediction. But realistically speaking, I hope that we scale so that we can onboard more people in a non-custodial way and not push them to use altcoins, because I believe Bitcoin is going to succeed, but we just need to agree for some reasonable parameters. In the next 4 years, it's gonna be tough, I guess. You know, there were already very few places where mining was profitable, and it's only going to get more centralized and industrial because that's the only way in which it makes economic sense. So I'm not sure what that means. It's gonna be interesting either way. I'm gonna enjoy this ride, and I'm happy to see that you guys have been around for longer and you have experiences to share. And thank you for doing this, honestly. I was just thinking, also, I want to give, no, my other prediction, I'm gonna put it like this, is that next time we have a halving, after 210,000 blocks, we're gonna talk about Bitcoin music once again, and everyone in this panel is gonna say that the Crypto Raptor rap is the best Bitcoin song. That's my prediction. Because we all forgot about Dan, and he deserves more love.
Oh, thanks.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys? So
Yeah,
from
Gideon,
my
go ahead. For what do you think about this halvening and the next one?
nice.
You've been here for a lot of them. Go ahead, Gideon.
From my point of view, in 4 years, not later than this, probably earlier, we will have music contests. We will have contests for IA-driven cryptocurrency-based models, whatever. So from my point of view, as you just said, it's just the beginning, and we are just building. This is what we are just doing right now. We are building this economy around this. That includes also, yeah, music, jingles, whatever you need, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you all of you will be a part of this. And yeah, take a look to this song from. I just shared it in the chat here. I don't know if you see it, but it's it's a very early stage version of a Bitcoin song from Red Bitcoin at the Blockchain Hotel. So enjoy.
Definitely a shout out to Bitcoin Rat. I don't know if we're gonna play the song right now, but it's been amazing spending another halving with you guys. It feels like eclipses now. We just had a big eclipse here in America, and the first thing they did after the eclipse is they started looking for the next eclipse. They said, where are we going to go next so we can see this sky happen again? And I feel the same thing here. Where are we going to go next? We're going to go 4 years into the future on average with the block time, and I think we're going to do this again. So thanks to everybody for joining us this
Thank
year,
you.
4 years ago, 8 years ago, joining us in the chat, giving us the thumbs up and the subscribe and everything. We're going to run out of time for this show. But join us every week on the Bitcoin group on the World Crypto Network, and we're on Twitter at World Crypto Net or at Mad Bitcoins, things like that. So thanks so much to everybody for coming. Thanks for joining us.
The halving is finally done right now, or what's happening? It's
This
done.
is it. The halvening is done. We've had multiple
So
blocks in.
we are
I don't think
we are
there's
in
going
the
to be
next
a
episode right
reorg.
now. Or
We're waiting for
okay.
halvening number 5. So we'll be back
Interesting.
again in 4 years,
So
hopefully. So thanks so
congrats,
much.
guys.
Until next time.